All right, everybody, welcome to Rogues Gallery Live. This is episode number 15. Sorry about the delay. We've had about a month off for Rogues Gallery. I took a trip to Colorado with my family, and then we had some other issues with baseball and whatever else. But I'm really excited to be back with all of you guys. We have an amazing panel tonight, and we have a very special guest as well. But I want to go through and introduce everybody first of all. So let's do that. First up on my screen is Mr. Rodney Punisher Jones.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Great to be here.
And then for the very first time from Red Cup Review, we have Robert Delgado.
Yo, what's up, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite. Of course, it's just good to be here and, love you guys.
Absolutely. Welcome. We also have from Mac Collections, Mr. Mac Main.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for inviting me, Chris. Hope everybody in the panel is doing well and everybody in the chat.
Absolutely. Welcome back, Mac. With us, as always, Mr. Lawrence Old Jr., a new homeowner, so congratulations.
Oh, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, awesome. Appreciate being on the show again. Thank you.
Absolutely. We have Mr. Tim himself, Child of the Atom, with us tonight.
Hey, everybody. Hi, panel, guests, everybody.
I would also like to welcome your beard back.
Yeah.
That thing grew back fast.
That's impressive.
I'm being put to shame right now.
He actually has shaved it 5 times since that show.
That's kind of what I figured. I figured that would be the second day right after you did it. It'd be poofed right back,
Oh God.
There might be some other people popping in and out, but I want to get the show started. We have a very special guest with us. He is a project manager. He does a whole bunch of things, and I'm really excited to hear all about them. He is Jason Wires. Jason, welcome.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. It's good to be on the panel, and nice to meet all you guys. It's my first time doing a live broadcast, so bear with me.
Well, this is really awesome. We're really glad to have you as part of the show. Thank you for doing this for us. It's always really cool. Last time we had the last show, episode 14, we had Chad Colbank from Tweeterhead, and he was just amazingly transparent about the process of statue creation and the process of getting the statue made, and all of the things that go into it, stuff that I had never even thought of. And I think the whole panel could agree that saw the show or was part of the show. It was just amazing to hear that. And so, again, I thank you for coming on to kind of give us some insight of what the process is like of doing statue making, basically. So my first question is, can you just tell us a little bit about what you do? Like, what is your title and what is some of the processes that you do? And then as we go, the panel, feel free to ask any questions that you would like to know as well. We'll also be monitoring the chat and see if there's any questions there. So, Jason, I give you the floor.
All right, fantastic, Chris. Well, I'm Jason Wires, owner of JW Productions. We've been around for 15 years, and we started off as a prototype painters. But now we've evolved as the industry changed from analog, traditional to digital. We started 3D printing like 13 years ago, right around 13 years ago or so. And then we've evolved with the industry as it's gone. So now we're a full development prototyping company where we pretty much work for everybody from Sideshow, Diamond, DC Comics, Mezco, NECA, McFarlane. So we pretty much, people just, all my contacts, they'll just hit me up in an email and say, hey, can you do this? Depending on what it is, whether it be an action figure or it be a full-on big statue. So a majority of the times we just do 3D printing, molding, casting, and painting the prototypes that go to China for mass production. But with Tweeterhead, Chad approached us years ago, like I posted in our last video, about helping develop product. So this is where we've stepped in with the superpowers and then developed this new line. So the new line is more, like we talked about in the last video, was collector friendly. We keeping costs down and still giving you the quality of what we're trying to bring, competing with all the bigger companies out there. There's Prime One, Sideshow, XM, Iron Studios. Everybody's making these beautiful statues. So being a smaller company and offer also a smaller scale, we're still trying to capture that large scale quality. When you see an image of the statue, you think it's quarter scale or third scale, whatever it is. We're trying to keep all the details and everything in it. So that's pretty much where we're at right now, and it's been fun. being able to go deeper into the universe of DC. Not restricting ourselves to the classic costumes and everything. And with what I showed Chris tonight, and some of you guys have already seen it before we went live, we're dwelling into, like big fan of the animated movies. I think DC is pretty much on top of their game when it comes to making the animated movies. I just love all the directions they're going in, and the animation's amazing, the choreography and everything in it. So I want to dwell into those as well, but incorporating everything into the real world. So taking the elements of design and then going into incorporating into what we visualize as collectibles. So yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at and what we do. So if that helps out a little bit.
So are you in a way, are you the art director? I mean, what is the relationship like with you and the artists that come to you?
Okay, that's a good question. So I'm very fortunate and blessed in this industry. Since we've been painting starting off years ago, people come to us for mainly our paint work. So I have another employee that works with me that's a phenomenal painter that's been working with us besides me for 11 years. So longer than that actually, but in this shop 11 years. But I don't know how to explain it. It's like they just come to us and they let us kind of do what we do, unless it's like a movie-based property. Like, so if we're doing something for like Justice League, I have to follow, exact specifications. But when we get like a comic book Batman or a Superman, or just say like a Wolverine or a Juggernaut, whatever we're working on, the project managers that hire us pretty much give me total freedom on our paint. So, I don't have any direction in sculptural or anything like that. Sometimes if something pops out where I'm like, hey, his leg looks really long, or, Spider-Man's webs are kind of messed up, they'll take my advice and they'll go back to the sculptor and retweak it. But we do some of that here too as well. So when we see something funky, we'll reach out to the project manager and pretty much say, hey, what do you think about this? Can you want us to fix it? And, the majority of the times they say yes, or sometimes depending on how quick the project has to get out the door, they'll just say, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. So, but yeah, we're full on, sculpturing, doing sculpting, engineering, all that stuff now. But yeah, it's pretty, I have free reign, I guess you can kind of say, and I'm very lucky to have that, because majority of companies out there don't really do that with other people. But I think since I've been working with majority of the people that hire us for the past 15 years, they're very comfortable sending us work, at the end of the day. So I think that's pretty much it though, on that one. So
you mentioned that you guys sort of do some figures too. What's the process like to sort of 3D print an action figure and make sure that the joints are movable and some of those different things versus a sculptured piece that is supposed to be statue based and non-movable?
That's a good question. Since we're all nowadays dealing in the digital outer space, like the void of digital, you don't have anything physical in your hands. So when we get action figures, it's really hard to check tolerances on movement. We can go in there and snap guidelines, and we can move the pieces around to make sure there's clearance. But it's not like the physical, like it used to be back in the day when we would get an action figure sculpted by hand, and it'd be all wax, and the joints would be made out of like styrene or wood even. And then we would move it around and pin it and make sure everything worked. But in the digital realm, it's a little bit different, to where there's still a lot of hand analog. Like we have to do a lot of hand cleaning and sometimes grinding and stuff to make sure joints and everything work properly. Sometimes we have to go back in and redo the joints from when a sculptor sends something to us. So we do a lot of engineering in the shop, which I never thought I'd find myself doing. You know what I mean? I had to teach myself everything about the digital age, and it's paid off, for what we do. But yeah, it's action figures are completely different than statues, because you have to make sure, one, there's movement, or if you have a character that has armor or a cape or something, you also have to make sure with action figures that the capes aren't too thick or too thin. You want to make sure the figures stand and nothing gets in the way of the articulation. So some companies do the soft rubber PVC when it comes out in China, but when we make it, usually it's hard plastic. So we don't have that option. We can cast stuff up in soft plastic, but prototypes usually just made in hard plastic, just depending on the company. Sometimes they like it in the soft plastic where they can pose it for photography, but majority of the times they don't really go into that depth. So it just varies on that. But yeah, it's a big difference
But the company, they basically say, here it is. We want you to figure out how to engineer it. Is that basically what they say? I mean, do they rely on you to do all that?
Not all the companies. The majority of the companies we do will send us completely engineered figures, and then some companies will send us a statue and a T-pose to where we have to go in. They'll send us like a screenshot of, like in ZBrush, of the T-pose of where they want the articulation, and then we'll go in and add the ball sockets and everything. And some companies too, it's kind of crazy. It's like, when you guys get action figures, you have like the ball socket, the discs, the mushroom joints, everything physically fitted. A lot of times China just takes care of that. So a lot of times when we do an action figure, we'll just have a deltoid without a disc in it, and then it'll just plug in there, and then China goes ahead and puts the articulation. So it just varies on each company. Some companies will get a complete action figure that's completely broken down to where the front of the torso is halved and you have the back, and then all the guts will be like these little pieces that you have to fit inside. We're like a model kit. So we do that too as well. But usually with the type of extensive engineering we do is nowhere near to that extent. Normally, it's just a solid model and China goes ahead and finishes it up. So that just breaks down to the company we work for. So
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What about like statue keying? Do you guys key the statues also, or same thing?
Absolutely. That is a primary function of what we do in the industry, and a lot of companies rely on us for that, to where even if we get a statue that is engineered, we go in and kind of look at it to make sure it will be sturdy enough, or if something looks very weak, we'll say, hey, you have this big, Hulk, but he's got this tiny little key holding him into this base. So we'll go in and we'll bulk up the key, or we'll swap the key out and make the key from the base, like shoot up like a pyramid or something into the kneecap or something. So, or we'll alter something. But that is done. And a lot of times too, since it's all digital and you're not physically holding something, after we print out the models, sometimes we have to go in with a Dremel and grind out certain areas and then make new keys, because we couldn't see that in the
model, yeah.
The digital file.
Yeah.
So there still is a lot of analog that's done, traditional work that's done on 3D printing. So a lot of people think that, like, the way things are done now, that, it's like you set it and forget it. You set it, you print it, you're done. But we're still a full-on production company. Everything is hand cleaned and gone over to make sure there's no build lines or anything like that. So it's still a lot of work. We have a complete molding, print processing fabrication shop that handles all the print cleaning, and then from there they go into the process of mold making, to where they analyze all the parts and make sure everything's fitted before it goes into molds. So yeah, it's a pretty extensive process. So
could you, I know, but you don't have to go into full detail, but could you kind of tell the audience kind of what it's like from the time that you get the digital render, I'm assuming from like ZBrush or something like that, to actually printing it, to molding? Can you kind of give us through that process, just so we know what it's like?
It's awesome, but when you have like 10 projects at once, it's kind of gets flustered. But yeah, it's so yeah, when we get the digital files, what happens is, like I said before, it's like, depending on where we're getting the files from, is how much work we have to go into digitally. I always have to make sure I run each part into my software. It's called Magix by Materialize. It's probably the most restricting program when it comes to looking at a digital file. So it will break down a part to every triangle. It reads every part of the mesh, everything on the interior, to where, like, it'll find one hole out of a million, like it'll find one triangle that's bad out of a part that could be, 1.5 million triangles. So I'll go in and I'll fill that tiny little hole to make sure the parts are perfect, because once the parts are perfect, we have to make sure they're engineered and everything fits. And then from there, then we go into the 3D printing. So 3D printing, I run high-end 3D printers. We have Projet systems here. We have two Projet 3600 Max, and then we have two 3500 Projets, and then we have a Projet 5000, which is a monstrous platform. And they all print 16.5 micron layers. So we get really super high resolution that's beyond pretty much anything that's out there that you print on. And and this is the problem, not the problem, but this is the confusion a lot of companies that come to us when they say, okay, I have a statue that's quarter scale, and then I have a statue, I could take the same statue that's quarter scale and make it 6 inches tall, and they're both printed on the 16.5 micron layer. So the resolution that's on the small statue will be just as nice as the resolution that's on the large statue. Because a lot of companies sometimes when they go in and print large scale, they won't print on a super high resolution because they're like, oh, you don't need it, it's big. But it still breaks down technically to the quality of the print. You know, when we take the parts off the printers, and varying on the print as well, the size of the print, normally any printer you work on, the height of the print is what's going to be your time sake. So the beauty of the printers that I run, like if you have a SLA printer, which is a standard in the industry, which is, I'm sure you've seen like the Form Labs printers, Envision Tech printers, even 3D Systems and Stratus has run those as well. But that's all built to grow up. It's either a platform coming from a resin tank or coming out of a resin tank. And that's when you see all the support structures, like the lattice framework and all that, before you get to the parts. So when you're printing on that, you want everything always standing upright. So if you were printing a torso, you would want the stems to be more structured underneath the crotch, and then instead of laying it flat on its back, because you have all the support sprues and support. We call it support interference. So with my printers, the beauty of them is that my support material is a wax soluble. So we can lay a part down any way we want to cut down print time, because once we melt the wax support off the part, you don't have any support interference at all. The texture that's on the front will be exactly the same on the bottom. So that's the beauty of these printers. But these printers are also, you know, 10 times the amount of money is what's normally out there. But I've been investing in these. I've been investing in these machines. You know, we're talking 11, 12 years ago. So I've gotten good relationships with all the 3D printing companies out there and everything, since we're kind of like an institution when it comes to prototyping with 3D printing. So that's that. So after we print our parts, we have to take the parts and we have to melt the wax off of them. So we have these big vats of oil that we take the part in and we dip it in, melts all the wax support off. Well, first it goes into an oven. We have a big like scientific like medical convection oven where we put the parts in, melts the wax. Once it gets majority of the wax off, we go into a hot oil bath. And then from there, we let the part get to room temperature, and then we go into an acetone bath, which completely strips all the oil and remaining wax residue off. And then from there, we take our parts and we dye the parts to make them, because our printer prints in semi-transparent material. So we'll go ahead and dye the parts so then we can see the surface quality, any imperfections, and anything that needs to be cleaned by hand. So then we'll go ahead and clean the parts. And then before we get into molding and casting, but depending on the company, majority of the time when we do action figures, we don't mold and cast action figures anymore. There's no sense of molding. Like you get action figures now that have like 56 points of articulation. There's no sense of molding and casting in 90 small parts. So we normally just print as many copies as the company needs, because what it would cost us for the labor, the rubber, the time it takes and all that to go ahead and make molds, it's just quicker to run, print 3 action figures than it is to mold and cast them. But when it comes to statues, of course, the 3D print quality and the material is very expensive compared to the resin and silicone. So when we do statues, it's usually molding and casting them to the copies that they need for production. But it just varies. Sometimes some companies are in a rush where they're just like, just please print us a tooling pattern and 2 paint masters. So we'll just do whatever we're told with that. But after we print the parts, when the parts are clean, we go into the molding stage, and that's where the fun kind of begins. It almost goes back to basic physics of making molds, and everything when you make molds is gravity fed with pressure. So you have to, you got to hold the part and like, I don't know. I have something here. Let me see if I have something that I can break down that's a little easier. Like, all right, it's an old Palisades toy. Where is it? What is this? Mr. Honeydew? It's a PVC. So if we were to mold something like this, we would have to literally break it down and see how gravity would feed to where we wouldn't be trapping air bubbles on it. So we would want to find something similar, like where we would put a stem here. The glasses would be separate, because but then the hand would have so we're looking at pour spouts that would come into the piece, and then from there it would feed, gravity would feed it down, pressure would help air bubbles come out, and then we would cut it out of the mold, and then we could do duplications of it. So that's an extensive part of all of it. But once it's molded, casted, depending on the company, we'll cast up. Some companies, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, Prime One, some of the DC collectible stuff. I don't know if XM's doing it or Sideshow's doing it, but they cast up in a semi-transparent flesh type of resin. and that's a very extensive process because you have to use clear resin for that, and so you have to dye and tint the resin to mix it properly to get that flesh effect. So which a lot of companies, when we paint them, we're just a white plain casting, which is very easy. But then when you start mixing into those other chemicals, you go from a 1-to-1 ratio to like an 8-to-10 or a 9-to-10 ratio, where the cure time's 45 minutes before it even starts to gel. Pop times are a lot different. So it's real extensive, but the effects afterwards are beautiful. So we do that as well, just not for all the companies. So after everything's molded and casted, we clean up the parts. And then we sit down. I'll ask either for reference of whatever we're working on, or they just say, just paint it like Batman, black and gray, whatever. So, and I know the majority of the companies we work for, how far I can go. If Mattel had sent me an action figure, obviously I'm not going to be going as far as I would as if DC Direct sent me an action figure, because I can get away with more wipes and oversprays on certain figures because they'll spend more money in a production than mass production. So that's the difference of what we do. So, but then after we get it, we paint it, and we're in my office right now, and my desk, I kind of cleaned up a little bit, but my desk is kind of a mess, but that's my paint station. You can just see at the desk, it's got all the it's just a paint board. So I sit there and just do, that's where I mainly paint, at the end of the day. So, but it's paint now can take a very long time, process wise. So, and we pretty much work around the clock here. I have another employee, like I said, that paints. So sometimes we tag team projects where he'll go into airbrush and base coat things, and then I'll grab a head and I'll start working on a head, or we'll be juggling 3 or 4 projects at the same time, depending on what we're working on. So, but once it's painted, we photograph it. I'm not the greatest photographer in the world, so normally there's professional photographers out there where the company usually does it in-house or there, but that's it, pretty much the process. But it's very gratifying at the end of the day. I can't mention one of the projects I just worked on for Diamond, but it's one of the coolest projects that ever came through the shop. Like, I actually, when we were finished with the project, I actually emailed the project manager. I was like, dude, you have no idea how thankful and grateful I am that you actually had this piece come through our shop, because it's one of the coolest pieces like we've ever touched in over 15 years. What I mean?
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I want to know now.
Yeah, the thing is what we do. You guys watch it, so you guys buy the stuff, but we're the behind the scenes. So when we paint, I'll paint like 50, 60 Batmans in a year. So it's just like, oh, another Batman, oh, or another Superman, oh, or another Wolverine. It's almost like that old school commercial when we were younger, with the guy that wakes up in the morning, he's like, time to make the donuts. With me, dragging my butt to the studio, time to make Batman. But going for the we are, it's good.
To piggyback on what you just said there, are you specifically actually painting the individual pieces, let's say the statues themselves that we're getting?
No. What we do, that's a good question. What we do, depending on the company, when they order a paint master, one paint master, which usually 1 or 2. Some companies do 1, they photograph it and they document it and they send it to China. But normally what happens is we'll paint 1 paint master that goes to the company for their solicits, the shows, whatever they need to do with it. And then 1 paint master goes directly to the factory that's manufacturing it, so they can break down how we actually painted it. And then depending on the company, some companies I make like color charts, my technique charts for, to where like I'll say, okay, Batman's cape was blue, then there's a blue wipe, then there's a blue dry brush, and then there's a blue or a black overspray. And then I'll break down like it's like a Pantone chart where it'll say my steps, and then like the actual paints that I used, I'll spray like little chips, and I'll put that in the that. But a lot of the factories, though, when they manufacture things, anytime when you see a statue and you see like little speckles on the skin and all that, you're getting billed for a factory worker taking an airbrush, and every time he pulls his trigger or she pulls the trigger on an airbrush, that's like 2 cents or 3 cents, and they document that. And that's how, when you guys see these elaborate statues, and I'm not defending any company, because nobody wants to buy a statue when it's super overpriced, but I do see on the forums a lot of people saying like, why is this statue going up in price, or why is this getting expensive? Because if you want high quality manufactured product, you're getting billed for what the companies actually have to pay to get the statues made. So that's when you can go from like looking at a Prime 1 piece, and then you can compare it to like just say like something from Diamond or DC Direct. You know what I mean? Their prices are a lot cheaper and the quality is good, but you're not going to get the quality of a Prime 1 or a Sideshow piece because you're only paying $45 or $150 for it compared to, you know, $1,200 or something. You know what I mean? So, but that's the difference of it. So sometimes when we do a Paint Master, it'll come back to me and the project will be like, dude, it's amazing, but we can't make this. So
Dumb it down, yeah.
I have to go back in and I'll have to erase some steps, but still make it look just as good. But simpler. And that's what I was getting to. A lot of times the factories will take our paintwork and just completely cut corners on it, but still, like, they'll drop certain things out to make the cost cheaper. But you guys would never see that unless you actually physically had my Paint Master and their Paint Master to actually just put together and look at. And a good prime example of that was the Harlequin that we did. The base, I put a lot of you know, time and everything into that paint wise. And then when I got the model back from China, the paint sample, the first physical model I looked at, and I was like, well, it's really good, but it's not exact. But what I'm saying is, like, there might not have been as many rust spots in the rust, you know, it's because they have to break it down cost wise. So we had to keep costs down too as well to be able to give you guys statues, because it's pretty pricey now in China to get stuff manufactured. Its prices have gone up. They're not dropping at all. They just keep on increasing, all the factories we go to. That's why with this new line, we've kind of branched out and started researching other factories. And I reached out to a bunch of people I know in the industry that I trust that work with these new factories that we're kind of dealing with now. And we're pretty happy with the results so far. So, but yeah, I hope that helps out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I have 3 million questions for all the stuff you just said, but
yeah. I'm
before,
here. I got nothing else to do but work. So
I got a little ring before when you were talking about the keying, and I was wondering, I'm backtracking a little bit. Do you guys key stuff in a way for the packaging, or is that not even a consideration for you guys?
Okay, so when you're talking about development, like so when I'm designing a statue for Tweeterhead, I absolutely consider where we're going with packaging, because yes, when you ship something from China, you're getting billed per crate. So, so depending on how many statues you can put in that crate is what you're getting billed for. So if you can put 10 to 8, you're paying for, you know, 10 statues instead of 8. So that's how that works. But you also have to look at it too when you're designing something, and for packaging, you also have to think of breakage. So when you start getting into like crazy cape spreads and certain things that are going to eat up a lot of space, you're also looking at a very fragile parts. And that's why sometimes when you guys get a statue, you'll get a statue that'll have something made out of PVC instead of resin, because of the company not wanting the piece to break on you. You know what I mean? Or it's made out of metal, you know, whichever route they go. So, but yes, it's packaging is definitely kept into consideration. I know Martian Manhunter the box is huge for Martian Manhunter, so we were just like, wow. But yeah, it does come to that though sometimes.
That's super interesting.
It is interesting. It instantly makes me think of Lawrence, your Iron Studios Batman, how the cape was, you know, a plastic material, correct?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a plastic PVC or something to that effect, and it's not resin. And it was probably a smart choice. I mean, you know, I think it helped probably keep production costs down. Although I've heard it's potentially more expensive to mold that PVC than it is resin. Yeah. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't feel like that lessened the quality any. And I don't have to. I just box the thing up because, you know, it's moving and stuff, and I wasn't worried about it breaking, having to box it up. So it's kind of nice to have that peace of mind for that particular piece.
Yeah, it's cutting. When you go into manufacturing, the difference between, to help you guys understand how that works, is that manufacturing resin, the tooling costs are a lot lower than making a plastic statue or PVC statue. But the actual product, the resin, is way more expensive than injection molds. So your molds in China, when you get a resin statue, are made like silicone, not like how we make ours. But they're making molds that they're like special effects molds. They're case molds. They have the mother molds around them because they're running off 1,000 copies. So we're running off, when we do molds here, we call them waste molds, to where we're putting stuff in and building little boxes. We're putting them in soda cups because we're only turning out 2 and we have to turn them over super fast. We're not pouring, you know, 50, 60 copies to 1,000 copies out of those molds, because after we pour our molds, we get about 4 or 5 pulls out of them and the molds get destroyed. So we have to work quickly. But in China, the molds are cheap for resin. I'm not going to say cheap. but they're more affordable than it is cutting steel. To make an action figure, you're looking at molds, to steel molds or copper molds, whatever they're using. You're looking at tooling costs being close to $20,000 for a 6-inch action figure. You know what I mean? Sometimes even more than that. So, but the injection plastic, when you get the plastic, it's pennies on the dollar to make an action figure when it comes to injection or molds. You know what I mean? And it just depends on the quality of what you're getting and what you're spending. So if you're buying an action figure that has 86 points of articulation in it, it's going to be way more expensive than an old school, Kenner action figure where there's 5 points of articulation, because there's only 5 pieces in the mold. And normally in China, when you cut steel, they'll do gang molds, so they'll put all the pieces on one thing, and they can put blocks on where they can inject some pieces in with flesh plastic, some with red plastic, some with blue plastic. So that's when you see action figures that come out where it's Superman and everything is blue, is plastic and not painted, because it's cheaper for the company to produce that and just put like a logo on a paint application. So when you go into development product, you're trying to keep costs down as much as possible, but still giving a quality product. And then you guys as collectors know, you can see something that's made cheaply, and then you can appreciate something that's made, well. And that's when you guys don't have a problem paying for something, because the quality you're going to get is going to be substantial, and you're going to enjoy the piece a lot more. You know what I mean? So
let me ask you a question. You said you worked with Mezco before, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's a question that gets asked on Red Cup a lot.
Yeah.
Those figures are covered with soft goods, right? So, and I've had other people in the industry on that have said just exactly what you said. It's like 25,000 per mold. You only get like so many pours before you have to destroy the mold and remake it. However, when you guys are using, let's say, an action figure that should have like double jointed elbows or knees, and it's already covered up by soft goods, why wouldn't you just continue using those as opposed to going back to like the single jointed ones, since the molds are already poured for those? Like, why would certain figures take a step back versus
I don't have control over that. I've been doing the 112 figures with Mezco pretty much from day one. They're really cool, but when we prototype those, we don't see any soft goods. We're just getting like forearms, boots, heads, weapons, accessories, whatever they have. And I never even see the final product till either it's solicited, or we'll get like a hand sample from China, like for San Diego Comic-Con or Toy Fair. I'll actually get like a hand sample that the costume's already on the body. And then we have to, like the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Homecoming 112 figure we did a couple years ago. And this was like not even going up to San Diego a couple of weeks prior. We painted it. Mez signed off on it because it matched the outfit we had from the factory. But like the day of the show, Mez got a new costume sample the costume was more accurate to the movie, but the red was off. So I got down to San Diego on Wednesday, and he pretty much was like, "Hey, do you have a problem? Can you paint the Spider-Man?" And I was like, "Dude, you're gonna have to ask my wife, man. We're on vacation now." And I went back to the hotel and I painted that actual Homecoming Spider-Man in my hotel room, and I mixed the paints, matched the color, and handed it off to him Thursday morning. You know what I mean? Before the show went live. Yes. So joints. So when you go into stuff like that, that's all depending on the project manager of the company we're working for. I don't really have say in articulation. Sometimes when we're working now, he has soft goods on his figures. Sometimes when we're working with figures that'll have like a PVC, I'll recommend like, hey, you have this PVC and the deltoid's not going to move at all. You know what I mean? And then I would recommend like putting like the scarf or something, connecting it to the ball socket, to where when you move it, the scarf kind of moves with the arm, to where it's not blocking the articulation. But it varies. I don't know how much, there's a big difference between mass market toys like Mattel and Hasbro compared to direct market toys that like DC Direct, the stuff you can only buy at comic book shops and specialty retailers. There's a big difference in the development of them. Majority of, I know with the 112 stuff, a lot of you guys like to pose them and photograph them and everything because they're really cool. But like, I don't know playability with them. I don't think you're going to be giving them to your kids to run around the house and stuff like that. So there's a big difference in the quality of the parts. And that's another thing to touch bases on too. It's like, I get on the forums a lot. I try to stay off of them because a lot of times I get up like they're sometimes they make me depressed. I'm like, oh my God, I worked my butt off. And then people are complaining and crapping all over this company. But it's like, we can't control everything that China does. And a lot of people complain about QC. And sometimes like, some company like Action Figures, man, they'll run off like 5,000 units. There's gonna be some bad eggs in that, man.
Yeah, 1,000 of them, 100 of them.
There's not gonna be something that sometimes it's not gonna happen. It's like anytime you go to work one day You know, you have a bad day. There might be the guy pinning the joints that his wife argued with him before he went into work, going, "Oh man, this guy got out of here, man. I don't want," you know, and he's pinning them wrong. You know, it's just sometimes it happens. You know, so
That's
and
something.
quality control and action figure is somebody going to be holding it and literally just going legs bend, arms bend, done, and that's it. They're not going to sit there and put it through motion and like 1,000 times of movement.
Yeah, I've mentioned that to a lot of people on the channel too, as well as, and there's a lot of complaints as far as like delays, and they want to blame the company. Like, well, you want to blame it for delay. I'm like, yo, your action figures or your statues, or whatever, could be sitting on a barge somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Like, you know, relax.
Yeah, and you know, and a lot of times too, the crazy thing about it is what we're dealing with now. You guys got to think about this too, like really take it in perspective. Let's just say, let's flash back 5 years ago. Okay, you didn't have all these collectible companies out there. You had Sideshow, you had pretty much DC Collectibles, you had Diamond, you had Gentle Giant, and that was pretty much you had Kodo, you know, you had the Mezco, you know, you had this handful. But now there's literally hundreds of companies making product, and they're all used in the same factories. So it's like these factories are so backed up, you know, because they're good, they're quality. So there's pretty much telling us in the U.S. going, okay, production starts now, you'll have it. And then, you know, 3 months from now. And then 3 months from now rolls around, and you reach out, hey, where's my paint sample you promised me 2 months ago? Oh, you'll get it next week. And then another week goes. So we're dealing with how they're communicating with us. And and then, yes, it is very frustrating to the collector. Like when you pre-order something and you get your money tied up. Yeah, if somebody says you're going to get it in 6 months, you want it in 6 months. But, you know, that's kind of out of our control. There's not much we can really do about that, especially once our money's tied up with the factory and they're already in production. If we back out, we're going to be losing money, and that's it. We're kind of we've got to start off from scratch. So,
well, it's interesting. I think one of the big complaints you hear a lot is that, well, like, why does some products come perfect from this factory, but this must be the bad factory?
Yeah.
You guys hear that all the time, right? You know, where you, you know, so but I could your point there about everybody's so overrun with so many product that they're having to put out. I could see where that, but have you had any experience like that with like a factory that they're just not putting out what the company or you expect?
You know, we have some issues here or there. Honestly, it's you know, it's depressing sometimes when you get some product from a company, a factory that you've been working with, and you get high-end quality product, and people love it, and then you get another product, and you're like, what happened here? You know, and they're like, oh, well, we had to farm the heads out here, and we were so busy, we had to farm the torsos out here to paint. So the factory subcontracts, and we have no control over that. We don't even know that. So, and then we get the product, and then, you know, yeah, sometimes there are issues with that. And then the only thing that happens with that is it leads to us not using the factory again, or we come to a negotiation on the next piece that gets moved in. Well, first they have to fix it, and then secondly, we move into the next product, and it's either, you know, you got to give us a deal if you want our business, you know. And some factories are just like, whatever, I've got enough. So, but there's many factories out there that a lot of people aren't using, which is and they're begging for this stuff. They're begging for resin. They're begging for plastic, because, you know, they may be making toys and action figures, but not for what you guys know. They're making like resin pixies and resin wizards and stuff, and they're making quality product. Maybe not the greatest anatomy in the world, because they're not making that. They're just manufacturing it from the company. So there's tons of collectible companies out there that a lot of people don't even know about, but these factories are doing it for all of them. You know, and down the hall in the factory that's making the resin, they might be making lawn chairs. You know what I mean? So it just varies on the factory you go to. You know, so yeah, it's crazy, crazy stuff.
Ryan, I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm PJ, by the way. Sorry,
Nice
I came in a little late.
Hey, PJ.
Hey, how are you? So, you know, you were saying is that, like, you know, you feel like bummed out if a factory kind of not messes up, but like it doesn't come out to what you expect. Is there like some sort of like, I don't know, agreement where if it doesn't come out to as close to the prototype, that, you know, you get a refund or some sort of like reimbursement for
that's personally done with the factory. Majority of the time, what happens before you go into manufacturing, I didn't touch bases on that when it comes to we just went through my stage. But once you send something to the factory, you send them a tooling copy where they're actually going to cut your mold from, whether it be resin or silicone. You usually should get a sample, whether it be a polystone statue or or a test shot. What it's a test shot is what is called when you have PVC. I don't even know if I had one. I have a ton of test shots from shots. It's like an action figure that's injected. There's no paint on it. So what happens is the company will get those first, and then they'll analyze it. They'll look at it to see like, okay, well, there's a big scheme here on the statue. They'll sign off on this. And so what happens is they go through stages of signing off. So when you see something, majority of the time when it comes out in stores, like say like an action figure that has issue, that was signed off on by the project manager in charge of the project. So you guys might see solicitations of an action figure that might be like super badass, but then when you get the product, the factory might have came back and said, okay, this is going to cost you $8 to $10 a unit, and their sell point might only be $20 a unit, and then they have to split that with a distributor, so they're making like $3 a toy. So I'm like, oh my god, we got to get cost down. So they get cost orders, and sometimes the orders is what breaks down to your final product. And a lot of times it's not the factory; it's the factory. We see it a lot, not more with the rec market. It's more with the market. But yes, if the factory screws up, you either hold them liable or you pay them in stages. And it's usually it's like 30 to 40% when they start, and once they have and you get your test samples. So you're not paying full amount. They're actually shipping. So you do see a lot of different stages. So I haven't had any issues where we've actually ever canceled anything or something. You know what I mean? So it's just there. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a very interesting aspect that a lot of people behind the scenes don't realize. If you guys put yourself in our shoes, or somebody that manufactures that just deals at manufacturing on a regular basis, it's a nightmare. It really is something that it makes you go nuts because you lie to all the time.
Because I can see.
I'm gonna stop you there just for a second. We're having some feedback. Everybody make sure that they don't have their YouTube muted. Getting a lot of feedback for some reason.
I muted my mic before to make sure, so it's not coming from my end.
Yeah, I'm good here.
Yeah, not me.
I'm good.
I have YouTube going, but let me mute my mic and see.
Let me see if anybody have any.
It's a feedback loop through the speakers, through someone's mic. The mic.
Well, there you go. It's Rodney.
It's better. It was Rodney.
Rodney.
How dare you, Rodney? Yeah, I can see the frustration, Ryan, with the with what's going on. I can only imagine. So I mean, because there's sometimes there would be a statue where the prototype is absolutely amazing, and then you see the final product. What happened? And or like, how does it even get past? Through that. And I think because you see like a prototype, you're like, wow, that's absolutely amazing, and then you get the final production piece and you're like, okay, that's not what I signed up for.
Yeah, when you start getting into like the big, you guys are gonna have to take it with a grain of salt. If you guys are buying action figures and toys, you're gonna have to kind of look at it like it's a toy. But when you're dropping money like on a Prime 1 statue or a Cyclops statue or an XM statue or even a DC collectible statue, you should be getting very, 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 very close to what you're seeing when they do solicitations. We always try to incorporate that when we do paint something. Like I've got a lot of ways of painting now, since I've been painting for almost 20 years, painting three-dimensional prototypes. I've got a lot of ways of painting to where I paint very fast. And I think that's why we're sought after, is because I paint very fast, but our final product looks like it took weeks to do. You know what I mean? And it's very simple stages, and I think it's just being skilled in the art of 3D painting, because it's a big difference when you paint something three-dimensional to painting on a canvas or inking or something like that. There's a lot of different techniques you can use to kind of make something look fabulous, but it's just done like real easily.
Yeah, like you were talking about like wipes on the cape. Yeah, that's like super interesting because I'm sure that's a sloppy wipe.
Yeah.
Right.
It just varies. You can do sloppy or strategic. And it also depends on what kind of tools you're using. I like, it just varies. Like sometimes I'll break out makeup sponges and makeup brushes when I paint certain things and apply it just like a special effects artist would apply it on a human. Especially when we get into like the Hot Toys kind of style look and the hyper realistic flesh stuff. It's that's a little bit more time consuming. And that's when we go to the factories. It'll be like, hey, his costume's this, his cape's this, but your main focus is that flesh. Because I want the flesh to look exactly like this. And so that's where the factories look, okay, like break it down for us, show us your techniques. and that's what we do. We work directly with the factory to help them through the process. And that's when, your statue might go from, $70 a unit to $75 a unit, because there's actual, the person that's on the flesh paint and in the factory isn't getting a head done in 10 minutes. They're actually spending 30 minutes on a head. And when you're doing 1,000 units, that's a lot of time for that one person to be painting flesh. And we also, the good thing about what we do, we only manufacture product with certain factories. We don't deal with any of those sweatshops or any of that crap. And that's why another reason too, when you guys buy your product, you're spending more money on product, because the companies don't want to work with factories like that anymore. It's not fair. So that's why a lot of times you'll see a statue be a little bit more expensive than that, and that companies go out to China all the time to make sure. Like, I know Hasbro and Disney set out some kind of standard like 5 years ago to all the factories they use. And they said, if you don't do this, we will not use you. And like, factories were like tearing their factories down and rebuilding because they didn't want to lose Disney as
because that's a lot of backlash for Disney.
No, and Disney set a huge standard for any U.S. manufacturer to follow those rules. You know what I mean? So, And so all the crap you'll get like overseas that's like garbage, like at the dollar store, that's like stuff like that. That's not made in good factories. You know what I mean? So, but when you're buying high-end quality stuff from the high-quality companies, you're knowing that the people that's the thing. The people that are making your product are taken care of. So that's the good bonus about it too. So
I have a sister who works with a lot of companies, manufacturer companies in China, and she said that the cost of everything's kind of going up because of the environmental fees or stuff that they have to abide by in terms of the rules. Like, if they're painting something, they have to have like a certain amount of vents or something like that to make sure that everyone is healthy and not getting sick for any reason.
Absolutely.
So, and plus, I would want a happy worker working on my statue. I wouldn't want the guy who's been there who's like miserable and like he's like painting my stuff.
Yeah, I've never been to China, but I want to go out to China, especially with this new line. The factory I'm working with, the beauty of the factory I'm working with now with this new line is that I've been prototyping a bunch of stuff for a bunch of companies, not a bunch of companies, one company in particular. But this factory has gotten my prototypes, my samples, my prototypes for other people for the past 5 years. And I've gotten product from them for the past 5 years of everything we've made. And the product's great. And so they have a relationship of knowing my prints, everything I make. So it's a personal thing for me too to be dealing with this factory on this new line. And also the cost at the end of the day, we're keeping the cost down to pass along to you guys. And we're not going to say we're losing money, but we want to give a collectible that's high quality to where it's like we're thinking about you guys. You know what I mean? Because we could easily mark these statues up higher, but we're trying not to. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that
long-term customer instead of short-term.
Well, yeah, you guys are spending a lot of money on statues. I wish I could afford it. In our showroom, we have a bunch of quarter scales and stuff like that we've done for Sideshow and everything. But Sideshow we just do 3D printing for. They have their whole interior in-house team.
Where are you at, Jason? Are you in California?
No. I used to be in California. We're in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, we're in a little hillbilly town.
I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping that you were gonna say New Jersey. I'm like,
I'm originally from New Jersey. No, I'm
ready to send you my resume.
Yeah.
Yo, you hiring, bro? Because
we actually are hiring. Honestly,
there you go, Tim.
There you go.
We're a full-time somebody in the mold shop. So one of my employees, he moved away. Like, he's got a 2-hour drive, so he put in his 2 weeks, and he's been doing it. He's been toughing it out for like 3 weeks. So not 3 months, 3 months. And it's 2 hours here, 2 hours there, man. It's 4 hours a day on the road. So I get it, you know what I mean? So, but we actually have a good opening right now. We're looking for somebody experienced that has a little bit of molding and casting, and then from there, we can train them everything we do. The people that have all been self-taught by me. So
that would be so cool.
Yeah, it's a fun job.
Pretty cool.
Though, but it's just like any job. I wouldn't want to do anything else in the world. You know what I mean? I was a tattoo artist prior to this for 10 years, about 10 or 12 years. So I kind of just fell into this with my brother because he was a toy painter in California when I lived in Georgia. And he told me I was ready in the process to open up a tattoo shop in Atlanta. And he was like, why don't you come out to California? I just got here, and you've always wanted to come out to California, come check it out before you open up a shop, because once you open up a shop, you're stuck there. You can't go anywhere. So I was like, all right. So hopped in. I went out there for a 2-month vacation. And what was funny was while I was out there in California, he was in Fullerton, California. So as I was out there for the 2 months, like the second day I was there, I literally just walked to a tattoo shop and got a job tattooing. And then as I was living with him for the vacation, you know, I'd go to work and I'd come home from work, and he was painting toys in a little cottage in his backyard, a little unit that he had, and he had like 3 or 4 employees, and you know, he was like, and this is when Toy Biz was around, so this was like the Lords of the Rings was there, the Toy Biz was making all the loader toys, the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, the first Hulk movie. So I would go in my brother's shop, and it was all red and blue and green and purple and all these hobbits and all this kind of stuff. And that was back in the day too, which was really cool, when action figures were all sculpted in 2-up size. So he had like a lot of the original Marvel Legends, like from back in the day with working with Toy Biz, you know, that were all 2-up. So he had these big ass statues that were like, I thought they were statues, but they were actually articulated action figures, because China would pantograph them down. You know, and just over the process of the 2 months, he's like, hey, can you paint this for me? You know, you got nothing to do today. I was like, oh, man, I was going to go drink some beer. I was like, oh, whatever. So my experience as a tattoo artist, and also being able to use an airbrush, because I use an airbrush a lot when I was on more mechanical with art, like tattooing and airbrushing. I had this issue with him, and I was like, hey, like, why can't I run these base coats through the airbrush? Oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. So one day he went to bed, and it was like midnight, and I was like, man, I'm tired of hand painting red and blue and green and purple, because we had like 12 figures, like 24 figures in the shop, and I went and just took the airbrush and put the paint in it and base coated everything in like 2 hours. He woke up in the morning, came out to the shop, and everything was done. That would have been like 2 weeks worth of work. And he from there, he was like, dude, you just working for me. And long story short, my brother, God, passed away at 34. He was very young.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
hear that,
Wow.
man.
Dude, sorry to
Yeah.
hear that, bro.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. His name was Eddie Wires. He was a toy prototype painter, and he was a staple in this industry. He was well liked, well loved. And so when he had passed away, we were just prototype painters. And so it was kind of like, I told my wife, I was like, I have to do something besides prototype paint. I was like, we have to get involved in 3D printing, because back in the day, you had Gentle Giant, which was the standard for 3D printing in the industry. And then you had Morpheus Production, and then you had Vision Proto. I think his name was Paul LaDuca. There was only like 3 or 4 companies doing 3D printing. So we were seeing in the transition in the shop, 1 out of every 10 prototypes was a print, not the analog wax or Castelline, whatever people used in a sculpt. So I told my wife, I was like, I'm buying a 3D printer if I'm going to do this. If not, I'm going back to tattooing. And so we had our ups and downs about it. I took out like 3 or 4 credit cards. I bought like this $45,000 printer that my wife didn't know really much about, and I got put in the doghouse for it. And honestly, it was a $45,000 paperweight. It was a piece of crap. But
Oh my gosh.
at the time, 3D printing wasn't where it's at now. So like companies like Fisher Price, my buddy Brian Davis that works at Fisher Price, he doesn't work there anymore, but he was using me left and right for, I can't remember the license. It was like some kind of like little pirate, Jack and the Pirates or something.
Oh, yeah.
We were doing all these.
My
Neverland Pirate.
nephew loves that.
Yeah. So we were printing all these like tiny little like Smurf size little PVC figures, and we were sitting there sanding them, putting epoxy on them to make them as best we could, and they used us. So because that was the quality of 3D printing back then. So what happened was I ended up a couple months later, like 6 months later, I invested in a 3D printer that was a dental unit that was used for making teeth and stents for surgery and stuff like that. And it was a company called Envision Tech. And I bought this thing called a Profactory Mini Multi-Lens. And it was like a 12.5 micron layer. And the platform that was only like 2 inches by 3 inch, it was tiny. But I started printing action figures with that. And everybody started getting, word got around that we were doing these action figures, and people were like, dude, these are the most amazing prints we've ever seen. And it's just been like a roller coaster from there. It's been a good ride, but it's had its ups and downs with all the new, pretty much every digital sculptor now has a 3D printer. You know what I mean? So it's been one of those things, but I think we started it such a long time ago that we know so much about it that that's where we are now compared to where my brother was when we started. But I honestly never thought I'd be sitting here making prototypes for a living or being an engineer on a computer. I was tattooing. You know what I mean? And I loved it. I said, I want to open up a tattoo shop now.
Yeah.
Tattoos, toys in the back. You know, it's one of those things. So
Yeah. So Jason, what's your favorite part of the process?
oh, you know, honestly, the fans' reactions to what we make. It's one of those things like when I developed the Dark Knight for Tweeterhead, you know, he's not really familiar with the whole expanded universe. He's a huge fan of the old school superpowers. And so we were kind of going back into this when I did the Dark Knight. He was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." You know what I mean? And then I was very nervous because, you know, Prime One's got the statue out, multiple versions. They have the one from the video game skin, and they have the one that they put out from can't remember the name, but it's got the rifle in his hand. And then Iron Studios has made one, DC's made a bunch of them. So it was kind of like our interpretation of bringing him into the real world. And I was very, very nervous about it because there's nothing like making something that you put your heart and soul into. And then you start reading the forums and people are like, "Oh, it looks like he's playing guitar." And I'm like, "Man, dude, watch some judo videos, man." So it's fantastic, man. You know, you can't take anything with a grain of salt. But the overall reaction, honestly, even when we make an action figure, just the Mezco stuff, you know, it's the people go nuts over them, man. And it's a good feeling when I'm sitting in my shop at 4 a.m. and I'm painting, you know, a Catwoman's eyeballs, trying to make it look like the reference Mez sent, you know, and I'm struggling at 4 a.m. because we do work 24/7, my guys. You know, it's luckily my wife is very patient with me. I've got 4 kids, and my kids come to the shop and hang out with me while I'm working. I'm teaching my kids artwork, so it's kind of a bonus in a way, but also it's demanding. You know, we get paid for every project we turn over. So for me to support my family and also my employees' families and their, you know, everything goes with that. We can't do one project a week. We have to turn over, you know, 3 to 4 projects a week, and sometimes more than that. Like we have San Diego Comic-Con right around the corner. And if I was able to walk you through my shop, you guys would just be crapping your pants, be like, "Oh my God, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that?" I think we have close to like 20 projects that we have to wrap up in less than a month.
Oh my gosh, I love
So,
it.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
Cool. That's awesome.
Building, casting, and painting. So, you know, and it's cool. Like we've done stuff for like Nike. We've done stuff. We built this big 3-foot statue for AT&T. So we branched out into different fields. It's just not toy prototyping, but it's fun. It's very interesting to see what's out there, and I have a good feeling for myself because we've lasted and we've had longevity for the past, you know, since we've started this to still be here today. There's a lot of companies that have closed down that do the same thing we did, that came in a little later. So we're still here, and I'll do everything I can. I told my wife and I'll tell my employees, like, I'll do everything I can to keep JWP afloat because we are an institution now. It's people rely on us to do what we do. And I wouldn't want to turn this away from the people that rely on us. You know, we have it's a small community out there when you start to get involved in this industry and you start to get to know everybody. And it's a really good feeling when I go to San Diego Comic-Con because I'm more of an introvert. I don't do anything at all. Like I stay at home, I go to my seat, play with my kids, and come to work. And then when I go to San Diego, it's overwhelming to me, the response of all the people that we work for and how well we're appreciated by them, you know, and then the fans, you know, I see the fans' reactions, like looking at the cases and stuff and posting stuff online and everything. So it's very gratifying. I think that's the best part of the job. My wife will post too, like during Christmas, she'll get online and she'll say, you know, "All you people, you have no clue what Christmas is about." She's like, "It's my husband, not seeing my husband and all. So you better take care of your toys when you buy them for your kids, you know." So
yeah,
it's just one of those.
You're gonna love what I have to say now. Then this one will make you feel good. Okay,
Yeah.
So I'm an action figure guy, right? Now because of the Batman statue collector and Mac and guys like Darth Castle, right?
Yeah.
They've been trying to drag me into the statue world, right?
Yeah, get twisted.
All right, you know, and obviously a Tim too, right? The whole crew.
No
Okay,
turning back now.
Yeah, no, all right. So my favorite iteration I'm a DC guy, right? My favorite iteration of the characters ever since I was a kid was the superpowers. The Jose Luis Garcia Lopez art is like, when I think of my heroes, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
So they put me onto this Twitter head, right?
Yeah.
And Twitter head, however it said. And the colors absolutely pop so damn nice on those statues. And they fit in perfectly with my Hot Toys because they're just the right scale.
Yeah.
I wish I had it now. I'm waiting on the Wonder Woman to come. She'll be here Friday. But take me through the idea of what do you use for reference for coloring those statues? Because I'm a classic guy. Everyone's into like the prime ones and all these other flashy, crazy. No, when I saw those statues, I was 5 years old again, playing with my superpowers. Ken,
okay. Well, the thing about the superpowers line, that's all Chad. Okay. Like I said in the video I posted when we were talking about the Dark Knight statue, Chad, I've been wanting to get a DC license forever. I've had meeting after meeting with the licensors to do action figures, statues, PVCs, even some unique stuff that's never been done before. And they just will not license me because I'm not a big company. Granted, I have the money to do the license, but and pay their royalties up front, but they will not license me. I'm not a big company. I don't have millions and millions and millions of dollars backing me. So it just Chad saw what we can do, and he saw the quality of my work, and he opened up his arms and was just like, hey, can you help us? I want to start this line off. And like I said before, it was an opportunity of a lifetime. I wouldn't have passed it up in the world to finally be able to take a vision that I kind of had to pass it on to all the people that I've been working for forever, because we've always done their artwork. So granted, we're doing our commercial art, painting it and molding it and stuff, but it wasn't like my vision or what I had in my head of what something should look like. So working with Chad, there's a lot of restrictions too. Like, we're working on the superpower stuff. We did the Harley, the Joker, the Hyenas, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, Starfire. Our Starfire was the last one. We were working on three other ones. And they just kind of folded into the mix where we're not going to be developing them anymore. Not to say we won't go on further on with them, but then we got to rely on sales. And I was really digging for some characters. I want to say one of them was a third tier, and I was really feeling it. But Warner Brothers was like, you can't do that. And I was like, well, if I can't do it, I don't want to do it. There's no sense of doing it. So I just scrapped it. And then some of the characters you want to do, and then you start going to the classic costumes. And once you start seeing them digitally sculpted 3D, and you're trying, because we try to bring the superpowers into the real world with the classic look, like you said, the classic colors and everything. But once you start digitally sculpting it, you actually start seeing that character three-dimensional. You're able to spin the files around, and you're looking at it, and you're just like, wow, that costume might not be great. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, man. But it's been Starfire was very challenging for us to develop. It was like when I went through almost four sculptors on that piece, and they all did a fantastic job on it. But it was just working with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers went from you can kind of do whatever you want into doing you can't do skimpy outfits anymore. And we were already 3/4 the way through Starfire. We were doing two versions. We were doing a modern version, and we were doing a classic version with the same pose. So it would be a different costume and different hair, but they wouldn't allow us to do the modern version, period. So we had to go, and obviously the class superpowers is the classic style. So the hardest part was translating the hair to make it look classic, but also make it look like it would work in the real world. You know what I mean? So it's been very challenging, but as a painter for me, painting stuff superpowers wise is very challenging because I'm a big fan of the modern universe. And when I was painting Starfire's flesh, I was like, man, I got to make this right, because that was another thing that was very intimidating for me was, man, I got to paint this big Starfire statue, probably the biggest one that nobody's ever made yet. And I got to make sure her flesh is spot on. And I got to make sure her flesh, her hair, the colors of the costume, everything flows.
Everything's balanced.
And I think it did well. And the funny thing about it is I noticed in one of the forums when somebody made a compliment on like, oh, the Starfire's eyes are so cool. I never saw somebody paint Starfire's eyes like that. And then somebody chimed in and was like, yeah, the Starfire for the bombshells was painted like that. And I painted that one too. So it was kind of like my little take on making her eyes like visually where she actually had eyeballs in it. That's one thing too that I'm very grateful for is the bombshell line with DC Direct. We've pretty much done 90% of them from day one. I've gotten to work with
another favorite line.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Amazing.
They published a book, The Art of the Bombshell, where they actually put us in the book that I didn't even know about. So I was very grateful for that too. And I'm still working on Bombshells directly with Brian Walters. He's the lead project manager there, and we, you guys haven't even seen some of them yet that we've done. So you know what I mean. It's fantastic. It's a really cool line.
That's all Aunt Lucia, right?
Yeah. Super cool, man. Super humble, man. One of the nicest artists I've ever talked to in my life. He takes everything very like serious. Like this is like he's very respectful of the opportunities that he's been given. You know, he's very, very, very super cool to work with. And I've worked with some other artists too that it's just like never work with them again. So it's like it's just one of those things, man.
So you mentioned the new line, and you got the Dark Knight there behind you. Are you, have you guys like settled on a number? Like, hey, we're going for 20, or we're going for 15, or we're going for, this is next, or whatever.
For me, for what I do with Chad, this line was given to me to develop for him, completely because he loves superpowers and he's focusing still on the superpowers. So this is the secondary line for me to discuss, like, what are we going to do? And I remember when we world premiered this on the video I did for my shop, I mentioned, we have to do hard hitters to be able to supply you guys the B and C characters, and Chad has a lot of those in mind. He's got a lot of like stuff that he hasn't even talked to you guys about in development, man. And sometimes he'll make something and it'll never see light of day because it's just like sales will be down on one statue and he'll be like, I gotta have to scrap this one because we're gonna have to get something out to make money. So this line is to be, I want this line to have longevity for 20 years. I want it to have the longevity of the Batman Black and Gray line or anything. You know what I mean? And it's an open universe for us to where we can do anything we want. I've got other ideas in my head too right now to start doing some more stuff with Chad. But it all breaks down on the sales of the statues. We might have expectations of saying, okay, this thing should sell 3,000 copies, and then pre-orders come in and they're minimal. And we're like, well, crap, we still have to make this amount anyway. So, and then sometimes got statues in a warehouse, and they don't sell. So, and I think the problem with that is it's just oversaturation. So as long as the lines are supported, we'll keep making them. But I've learned over time for all the companies that I've worked for and the experience that I have, that the statues that are the hard hitters are the ones that are going to sell. So, that's why not a lot of companies make the third tier or the second tier characters. And you keep on seeing a Batman or a Wolverine or a Spider-Man, because those are the ones that people buy. You take a chance, like the two characters I wanted to make, like even Warner Brothers was like, this is a great idea and it's a great sculpt, but you're not going to sell any. You're going to be, so it was just one of those things. It's like, well, I want to make it. But, it came down to it when money talks, at the end of the day, for what it cost me to prototype something from start to finish, from design work, depending on how extensive we go to designing, to sculpt phase, to printing, to molding, casting, and painting, you're looking close to $20,000 to $25,000 a prototype. So when you're making something so when you see these big, and that's what I make, when you see these huge statues that Prime One and Sideshow are making, man, a lot of people don't realize the money and time that go into these things, man. And then you got people that are complaining online going, I can't believe that this is selling, for this amount. But it's like, we're lucky to sell 500 units of some stuff. And then after you go through distribution and prototyping fees and all that, you're making enough to pay your bills for a month. So a lot of statues you see, not a lot of these companies are, making tons of money per unit. They're making enough units to keep their companies substantially surviving. You know what I mean? So, but, we want to make some hitters that we can keep the longevity on. And we have like the two, that's what we're doing with this line, is we're doing the environmental base and the museum base. And so not every statue now we develop that are going to have those elements. So you may just have one time a normal base with the exclusive parts, you know what I mean? Or you might not get exclusive parts, but you'll get an exclusive base. So we don't know how that's going to play to the effect of the development, because with the Dark Knight, it was a no-brainer to do the mud pit because nobody's done it, and so it was one of those things that give you guys the either option to keep your clean museum statue that fits in with all your collection, or go with the version that fits in with your other collection. So everybody has different aspects of what they collect. Some people like the clean, some people like the environment stuff. So we try to do with that. The next one we're doing in the line has an environment as well. I don't know if it's going to be as much as an impact as the mud pit, but it still is related to the character, and the comic. And the third one we're doing is the same thing. So we've only gotten 3 in this line. There's a 4th one where Warner Brothers has approved the artwork, which nobody's, I think, even made a statue of it yet. So I'm really excited about that one. And then we're already discussing moving into 5, 6, 7 of the line. And that's where we're going to start diversing more into different aspects of the characters. But you're going to be expecting to see more of the modern style, the animated movie stuff, maybe even the animated TV series stuff, but that's kind of been done, so we're trying to come up with just trying to come up with stuff that hasn't been done, and to give you guys, even though it's 6 scale and a lot of you guys do collect quarter scale and third scale, we're trying to make that 6 scale good enough to where you're like, I want that on my shelf because it's just badass. So
I love both.
Yeah, I think it looks great, man. You guys knocked it out of the park on that Dark Knight. So
would you be willing to show us a little closer the ones you have there?
Yeah, they're not glued together. Let me see if I can. If it breaks, I can make another one, I guess.
Hope it doesn't.
I don't know how my lighting's gonna be, but I'll try to adjust my camera too in a second.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you guys did such a good job on these prototypes that I don't even know which one I like better.
Yeah.
And normally I'm like pretty good at like discerning, oh, I like this one better clearly, but they're both so good that it's like,
Thank you.
I feel like you got to get both of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're so good. They're so cool.
Yeah, it looks. I don't have great lighting in here, but yeah, that's.
And it's such a great price point and such a space saver too at the same time.
Yeah, that's the thing with how I am too as well. I don't collect. I'm not even. The funny thing about it is I'm not even a collector. Like I have a ton of stuff because majority of the companies we work for send us product. So I have tons and tons and tons of statues and PVCs and action figures. Like we've got action figure shelves all through the shop that are.
I'll shoot you my address.
Figures.
yeah, feel free to send it out, man.
Yeah, but now the only thing I can honestly say, the only thing I've ever gotten into, this is going to sound funny, but the only thing I've ever really gotten into collecting was when Sideshow first put out the Lord of the Rings stuff. I got into all the stuff.
Nice.
So it was those I collected a lot of those. So I have a lot of that collection of like the helmets and that. But then I also on my screen, if you look in the back, it's like kind of corny, but I'm a big fan of tiki mugs, and that Geeky Tiki came out. And so, that's this is the perfect thing for me. Like you never know what to get your father for Father's Day or his birthday or Christmas and stuff, and my kids know exactly what to get me. So, and they're always pumping out new ones. And I collected tiki mugs before the Tiki Geeky came or whatever Geeky Tiki came out. So I have a huge collection of just tiki mugs. Like every time we went on vacation, when it was beach or something like that, I always picked up a tiki mug. Some people get shot glasses or spoons or whatever they get. It was always a tiki mug. So I already have like hundreds of tiki mugs at the house. Mm-hmm. So having these themed tiki mugs for me is just like a godsend. And we work with Mondo, with Brock and stuff. So we're printing a lot of their stuff. So it's kind of fun to be able to do stuff that I really enjoy.
That's awesome. That's
awesome.
Really cool. Besides the new line that you've got going on there, is there a particular property that you really like to work on? I know you mentioned it's like, oh, I got to do another Batman today, but is there something that you're like, man, I really have always enjoyed this property and it's something I dig, and I like bringing my interpretation of it to life.
I'm a big video gamer. Not so much now since I have 4 kids. But this is a funny story. I wish I had the prototype because I can sculpt traditionally and everything, but not as much focus as I am as a painter. But I have the arts ability, but I don't have the years of practice behind me. But back in I don't know how long ago it was when the first God of War game came out. When Sony first put that game out, I literally played that game and beat it, and I was like, I'm sculpting an action figure of that. And I sat down at my desk at night, and I had never sculpted an action figure in my life. Had the Castelline, my waxer, sat there with like other prototypes and analyzed the anatomies and all that kind of stuff, the joints, and made all my joints and everything. And I sculpted out this 12-inch Kratos that I loved. I was like, man, and I brought it to my brother, and my brother's like, Jesus. He's like, where did this come from? And then he critiqued me. He's like, hey, the abs are off. You need to fix this.
Yeah.
If you do that, he's like, this is pretty badass for you never sculpting before like this. So I went in and fixed it all up and everything, and we molded and casted it and painted it. And I literally called Sony Santa Monica and I asked for Dave Jaffe. He was the creator of God of War, and he answered the phone. I didn't think the guy was going to fucking call, answer. And so I shot the shit with him for like an hour and sent him images of the statue. And it was like the first prototype of Kratos ever made, like physical. And it never went into production or anything like that. But he was like, Jesus, this is awesome. You know what I mean? So that was a highlight for me. I love video games, man. To me, they're just like watching a movie. You can just escape and just find a whole nother world. And it's a whole other form of entertainment.
I agree.
My kids are big into like the Switch now. They're young. I have an 18-year-old stepson that, now I can play games with him like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter where you know, we can actually fight. Because back in the day, I just whoop his ass because he didn't know the moves or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, but now he's good at it. So it's fun. But I would love, like, I tried my hardest to get a Mortal Kombat license from Warner Brothers, and they just wouldn't give me light of day. And it's not that they don't like me like this. It's not like they wouldn't give me light of day. It was just one of those things where it's not the right time. And so, but I looked at it where Mortal Kombat 11 came out. Where's the product, man? I was ready to go, like statues, ready to move on it.
Well,
you know,
Mortal Kombat.
There's
Mortal
no
Kombat
more
X thing still
product
out.
out there. The game's come and gone. But still, it's not come and gone, but it's out. But where's Pop Culture Shock's Mortal Kombat stuff? Where's all these
they're still waiting for Mortal Kombat X stuff to come out.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So I was ready to do 6-scale statues of that.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? So, and I wanted to go all out, but you know, it is what it is. And one thing that's funny, it's I have a friend in the industry that's a digital sculptor, a really good friend, and he sculpted some stuff, and I was like, dude, how much you want for these? I want to approach Fox, and I approached Fox for a Bob's Burgers license like 6 or 7 years ago when the show first came out, and I wasn't expecting Fox to turn around and send me paperwork. They're like, these are awesome, here you go. And I was so nervous, I got cold feet and didn't sign the paperwork, and I never did anything with it. And I told myself from that day on, I would never miss an opportunity like that ever again. If I wanted a license and somebody offered it to me, I would take it. You know what I mean? If I wanted to make the product, and I just haven't had that chance yet pop up. But there's been 2 companies now that have made Bob's Burgers and stuff, and it's come and gone. You know what I mean? So that's another thing with you guys got to understand too with product. If you're making a movie product, like say for a TV show or something like that, or a movie, you got to have that product hit the shelves way before that movie comes out, if you're allowed to. Sometimes there'll be restrictions on costumes where you won't even see the toys hit the shelves. Like Target or Walmart might have the toys, but they can't even put the toys on the shelf till the movie airs. You know what I mean? So you're missing that. You got to have that. You got to develop your product, get it manufactured, and get it to the States and on the shelves. Perfect timing to have those huge sales for movie and TV properties. We go through tons of projects with companies where we'll be developing a product, and halfway through they'll be like, okay, just scrap it. We'll give you a kill fee because we can't sell it now. The movie's come and gone. You know what I mean? There's only so much of a window to sell those hot items when the movies are fresh or TV shows are fresh in people's eyes. Like, you know, Game of Thrones is done. Like, I wouldn't want a license for Game of Thrones now. Dark Horse is done. I think McFarlane's got it now. But it's one of those things. It's like that's gone. Walking Dead had its high points. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's all the new stuff that's coming out that's fresh, and that's the exciting thing about it too. It's when we work on stuff. When I worked with back in the day when my brother was running the company, when we were doing the stuff for Toy Biz, the Lords of the Rings stuff, we ended up getting Lords of the Rings, like the Two Towers, Return of the King, on VHS. Way before, like 2 years before the movie. Like we got like the rough shots of it. We worked with Weta, where Weta was sending like skin samples of like the Uruk-hai and Gollum, and we had to match the paint and stuff like that to the skin sample. So we got to work with the special effects companies as well. So there are benefits of what we do. You know what I mean? And I cherish all of those moments. Like when I go to San Diego Comic-Con, my biggest moments have happened to me of meeting the people that have inspired me my whole entire life, not that pay my bills. Like, I love going to the show and taking my clients out and seeing them, but I don't expect to ever, you know, I admire a lot of people in this industry that have nothing to do with what I do, you know, and being able to sit down and have a conversation with them or a beer, and they have respect for us and stuff like that. It's just so gratifying for me for that. And that's what I look forward to, I think, too, with that. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. You guys would probably love it here.
Yeah, we'd love to check it out.
Yeah.
So video games is your video games is your one of the licenses that you would want to work on. Like you said, like God of War and other things like that. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of them out there that I'd love to do. Dead Space, I don't think got enough justice.
Oh my gosh, that's like one of the best games ever. I think
that's just I think like NECA made a figure and Sideshow did like a 6th scale or 5th scale statue of the character or something like that.
Yeah, Isaac,
things or something. But yeah, there's you know, we wanted to do that Lollipop Chainsaw game that came out. I wanted to do a big quarter scale of that of the girl from that, and the company wouldn't give me the license for it. You know, you can go after selected licenses too. You don't have to do like a whole thing. You just do one character. And then some companies were like, oh no, that's going to be this amount of money for the whole thing, and you're like, I don't want to do that. You know, it's so that's the thing with video games too. Is like that Blood Rain character. I wanted to do a statue of her. I can't even find a license for that. It's like who even has that anymore? So.
Blood Rain. She had like the swords, right?
Yeah, she was the vampire chick.
Oh my gosh!
On her arms.
Yeah,
the original game though, not the TV shows and movies they kicked off of that were awful. But you know, it's like certain things like that, like you know, the new games that are coming out now. You know, it's like the Arkham line is proven test of time from everybody that's made product for it. From doing their black and gray statues, I think they did for them, and then with a hint of color, we did all of those pretty much for them. And then Prime 1 with their 1/3 scale. You know what I mean? That game is just, to me that's the universe of DC that I feel is real. You know what I mean? Not the comic books. I feel like that universe of the Arkham City style stuff that they created was what it would be like if it existed. You know what I mean? I think that there's great concepts, great designs. I think what is it, Rocksteady or Rock? Who did it, Rocksteady or something?
Rocksteady.
Yeah, they've they nailed it. You know, when it came to the world of Gotham, for sure. You know,
that's why I have 12 of them. I don't know if you've ever seen. You know, if I.
Yeah, no, I've seen them. I just can't. I got kids to feed, man. If I had my way, trust me, I would. I'd be buying statues. I would be buying some of the stuff that comes out now, like the Swamp thing that Paul Komodo just sculpted for Sideshow is just an amazing piece. I'd love to have because I'm a big fan of Paul Komodo's artwork. He's just amazing to me, and so usually anything he sculpts for the industry, I usually try to pick up. You know, if it's a kit or a statue, you know, I can't drop the $1,200, $1,300 on the piece, whatever it's costing now. So. You know.
Since we are talking about Batman, I believe you have a very special surprise for everybody that's watching.
Oh boy!
We have a little teaser, maybe.
Yeah. Chad gave me permission for that, so.
All right, so this is in the Batman line that you've started.
Drum roll.
Oh man,
I'm ready.
I'm watching it on my phone, dragging. I'm delayed. So
see if it goes up there. If not, I have the photo I could put on. Not sure if it's going or not. Still see you. Let me just switch to me and I'll screen share here.
Did you get it, Robert?
I got him now.
Show us the corpse. Who sent you?
All right, can you guys see that?
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
All right, so here's our teaser. I'm guessing Gotham by Gaslight. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Nice.
That is awesome.
That is very cool.
This is what's cool about that. The fact that they did the Dark Knight, and I'm guessing this is going to be like kind of part of that line. Batman has so many different Elseworlds that have so many different designs that it's almost like getting a new character because it's from.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, and I approach this line just like I did with the Dark Knight. As I'm a big fan of the movies, the animated movies, as I am as the comics. You know, I'm more of the movie stuff than I am not the live movies, but the animated stuff. I'm a huge fan of anime, and so what we're trying to do with this one is we took both, and it's still in approvals. It's pending licensor approval right now, but I took the comic book and I took the animated movie, and I kind of put them together, and then I also brought it into the real world. So he's hyper realistic. So we're trying to bring those elements, trying to keep the aesthetics and everything there, but also punch it up to where, you know, if this is what he would like if he was walking around the real world, and you know, and then we have an elemental base with that, an environment base with that as well. So we're just waiting on approvals, you know, on all of it. And Jonathan Matthews is the sculptor on it. And if you're familiar with any of the DC collectible stuff, he does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he does awesome stuff, man. He's done a lot of the black and whites.
Yeah,
like you mentioned, those are.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah. He did his own black and white. So, you know, when I approached him for this, he's amazing, man. Like I'm very grateful for all the guys that have worked with us so far. with all the statues, even the superpower stuff. You know, I'm very grateful for the people that I've worked with. And then we have the third one that we haven't teased yet, and I got the perfect sculptor working on that one. So, and it's amazing and it's hyper detailed. It's just we haven't gotten there yet where we're gonna show it. You know, I want to print it out for San Diego, but it's just not done. You know, there's those things like when you guys see a statue and you guys nitpick it.
Oh, we destroy things.
But with us, we go over 1,000 more times than you guys could ever imagine.
Oh wow!
Try to capture everything, you know, to where it's like going back and forth with sculptors. You know, they're like, you know, in our minds, we see something the way we want it done. Their minds are like, well, that change isn't going to make the difference of the sale of the statue, and that's a lot of sculptors' thoughts on it. But the good sculptors just make the change. You know what I mean? They're getting paid for it, and then same with us. And I'm on the same end as them. I prototype every day for every company. So when a company comes back to me and says, "We don't like that shade of blue. Can you change it?" I don't sit back and go, "I'm not making that change. That's stupid. What's the difference? It's one lighter shader." I might think that, but I still make the change because they're the ones that sign the paycheck. I want to get paid. I don't care. It's commercial art for what we're making. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just that aspect. But all the sculptors, like Keith that worked on the Dark Knight, like, I just gave him the reins. You know, we went over the pose, the idea, sent him a bunch of reference, and you know, I just let him have fun with it. And I think that's the success of being a project manager, is not being so restricting on your artists and keeping that complete control to where like you're watching everything, you're making changes to everything they're making, and that's just not fun. Nobody wants to. You don't want to be at your job and your boss be standing over your shoulder like that dude from Office Space with drinks of coffee with the glasses. You know what I mean? Like just riding your ass the whole entire day. You know, so
okay.
You want these guys to put their heart and souls into it. So each of these pieces that I'm having sculpted for this new line, it's a part of the sculptor. Like that's the thing. Like the Dark Knight, that's Keith Kopinski. You're seeing a Keith Kopinski sculpt, kind of like how Bowen would let their guys sculpt their stuff with some of his direction. You know what I mean? So the new one that's coming out, this is Jonathan Matthews, man. This is his statue. So, you know, I'm really happy with it. And I think that's a good break for these guys too. When you're seeing our pieces, that's why they're coming out so well, is because these sculptors are really putting their heart and soul into it because they know it's them. And
I like that. I like
you know,
I like the idea that you allow the artist to be the artist.
Absolutely.
You know? And I like the idea that, like with the teaser you just showed, you're putting your own spin on it at the same time. So you're taking influence from all these different elements, you're spinning it into something new, and then it becomes unique and one of a kind for that. It's not just another Gotham by Gaslight statue that we've seen or haven't seen. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a run of the mill. It's specific to that, you know?
And as a Batman fan, that's what I appreciate so much too. Is that, you know, like I love Sideshow's work, but it's always their version of it. It's not a specific, you know, from a certain comic book. But then that's why I like a lot of my Prime One stuff, because, you know, like my Hush Batman, that is from Hush. That is from the comic book, and that is why I really appreciate what you guys are doing with this line. Is because in the black and white line, I never got into the black and white line just because of numbers.
We still do them.
And that's the thing, is that this new line, it's a comic book specific character, which I love. So I can't wait to see what you guys all do with it, because I really appreciate that. And like you said, I appreciate the fact that it's various artists. It's going to be their pieces, their interpretation of that comic, which I like too.
I've learned over time, you know, it's not easy with Warner Brothers either. You know, it's luckily with the Dark Knight, when they came back with changes, they had some comments on the cape, and they had comments on I think it was the belt. They were like, make sure the belt looks like this. You know, and the one that's in approvals right now for artwork wise, there's not much the character, there's not much in the comic books with them. Like I went to the comic book shop and bought like every comic book that the character is in, all the trade paperbacks, and literally flipped through them, and the panels were just like, well, it's drawn differently here, it's drawn differently there. This one's twice the size of this one. Like the belt's different, the helmet's different, the hands are different, like everything's different. So with this character, it's almost like we have total freedom to design what we want, keeping it in those elements of the designs that have already been done. Maybe embellish stuff here or there. And, you know, that's the beauty of what we do. And it's also hard to do because you're also working with Warner Brothers, where they might come back and say, you might send them a design. They might say, absolutely not. What is this? You have to do it this way or you can't make it. And that's why you see with, when you see this stuff, which you guys, I don't know if you guys understand, like if you guys see the stuff from Prime One and XM, they're dealing with Warner Brothers China. They're not dealing with Warner Brothers on the US. So that's why when you see statues from them, you're seeing guns in their hands and weapons and stuff like that. In the United States, Warner Brothers won't allow to put a gun in a person's hand and have it pointing at you.
Like Flashpoint Batman. That's interesting.
Tons and tons and tons of restrictions on the U.S. compared to the overseas market. So that's why, like some characters I want to develop, I won't even make, because I'm not going to make a character not have their main weapon. You know what I mean? It's like, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we can just go around it and just make things different. But then when we look at it, the people that are going to purchase it are going to be like, well, why don't they have this? Why is it in their holster when that's their main, dynamic? So it's just it's interesting, man, and it's very challenging, and we're always up for the challenge. So I think with the one we have that we just teased, I think when that gets prototyped and it's put next to the Dark Knight, and then we have the following one, I'm hoping that the line, people are just like, man, these are super badass, they're affordable, and they're decent size, and they're going to fit in with any collectible, because we're going to make sure they're manufactured high end. We're not going to cut corners on them and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm working with the factory right now. I'm making sure the flesh and the mud application is something that the factory is, I'm like, I know this is going to be intimidating, but I'll walk you through the steps. It's not, I'm the painter. You can deal directly with me. You're not dealing with there's no middleman. You're talking to the person that actually painted it. So any questions you have, shoot, let me know, and I'll fix them for you if you have any issues with it. So it's good. It's a good feeling to know, and be behind the scenes on these things too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing I mean, this might be counterproductive to like your business. Have you ever thought about doing like tutorial videos?
To me at this point in time, man, there's nothing that's not on the internet anymore. We've talked about doing a Twitch channel. I'm just so busy. I've done some stuff for DC Collectibles back in the day on the Bombshells. They had me record painting a Mara statue, and then they aired it for that. But no, we thought about doing a Twitch channel or something like that, like a YouTube channel, because we have a lot of elements here in the shops. Like mold making is one that's very confusing to some people. Painting is another thing. Printing, engineering. The thing about it is, I even thought about going to an art school and teaching. But I just don't know what my schedule, if it's worth it. And then it goes down to the element of tattooing. So, we are evolving as a company where, like I said, we're thinking about opening up a tattoo shop in the front and toys in the back. So we're obviously the prototyping shop won't be accessed by anybody. It'll just be for me a way to control the other business going on, or whoever is in the back, and make sure that everything in the front's going on perfectly fine.
So if I get a tattoo from you, could I sneak in the back?
Absolutely. It wouldn't be something to where like walk-ins could just walk into the prototyping shop, but everything in the front of the house would be everything we've prototyped. So the display in the tattoo shop would just be overwhelming. You know what I mean? You quarter scale statues, some stuff that's not even painted. So it would be a very impressive tattoo shop, and that's what we would be going for, is to bring in a certain type of clientele. And we would turn into a distributor, and we would market the stuff that we prototype for the company. So we would have like a mailer list saying, hey, we made this Batman, pick it up from our website or something, that kind of thing.
Cool. That's awesome.
We would sell the stuff that we actually prototype, make it a little bit more personal for the people that are collecting, maybe get some more people behind it that really don't know anything about it. Because we did Dragon Con here in Atlanta. That's like our San Diego Comic Con. And we set up this huge booth with display cases, and there was people coming up to us that, like, I do this for a living, so I think everybody knows about it. There's people coming up to us going, I didn't even know things are made like this. Where do you get this kind of stuff? And I was like, I had to send them to a sideshow, all these companies. So it's pretty interesting how this market's grown, So.
You got a question from one of our viewers, Collector's Digest. He wants to know, what's the best way to paint action figures with an airbrush rather than regular brushes? Because he's having a hard time finding a way to paint his Hot Toys Heath Ledger Joker.
Oh boy, that's a complicated one if you're going to start with that one. We use airbrushes, acrylic paints. We kind of lay off the enamels because the enamels can eat plastic, but we base tone with an airbrush. So our basic sprays, if we're spraying like the Joker, we'll spray his face flesh, and we'll go in with a white and spray the overspray on top of it. We'll dull coat it, seal it. to where when we're painting an eye work or anything like that, if we make mistakes, we can wipe it off without peeling up the under layer of paint. So then a lot of it's done by hand brushes, sponges, whatever. And then after we do that, we seal it again, and then we go do the oversprays to do finishing. So that'll be like shadows, skin textures, whatever you're adding to it. And then we make sure we go back in since it's sealed. You can take a little Q-tip or a brush and clean all the eyes out, the whites of the eyes, or make sure they're white again, the teeth. And then we seal it again, and then we top coat it. We'll gloss eyes, gloss mouth. But yeah, we use a combination of both. Oversprays can be tricky, depends on your airbrush, your paints, and that's anything, even hand painting something. It depends on the paints you use, your consistencies, the brushes you're using. So it just varies.
Yeah.
But yes, you can use both.
So Ryan, I collect a lot of Hot Toys and stuff like that. I appreciate the artwork that goes into these head sculpts and stuff. Do you collect any Hot Toys, or do you like paint any of the Hot Toys just to see?
No, I don't paint any of the Hot Toy stuff. That's all done by them.
I mean, like, do you ever take one and just decide to just make it your own? Like, I know a lot of people do custom stuff
Yeah, we try to apply, like with the 1/12 stuff that we did for Mezco. When Mark approached us about doing it, we stepped in. We came in on the line right after he did the Judge Dredd and the Dark Knight and the Mutant Leader. We started going from there. We were doing majority of all the 3D printing, all the molding and the casting. We even built that big Batmobile for him that he showed at that one Comic-Con. That destroyed from UPS, like opened up the box and completely destroyed it and threw it back in the box. And he had the guys from NECA rebuild it at Toy Fair. But it was he approached me to paint those heads. He's like, I want Hot Toys, and the preliminaries, and as big of a pain in the ass as it was starting off, it improved my paint like 100%, because I would pull up when I would work on the Thor or I would work on a character. What my reference was Hot Toys heads, and I would pull the heads up online and I would try to incorporate all that technique and everything on these small, tiny little heads. And I've got some sample. I don't have samples here, but I got pictures of like when I did the Punisher heads. I taught them.
Oh yeah.
I taught them into casting up the heads in a resin flesh. So it would just be like you're injecting plastic in the flesh color and in the China, and then doing wipes and everything on it and skin and textures. And he saw those and freaked out. And then we did the Joker heads that way. And so I don't know the aspect. Like the past year, I haven't really done much with him because we've been so busy. But now I've just picked back up with them again, and we did a slew of stuff for him for Comic-Con. So it's
you guys.
I'm always challenging myself paint wise. It's one of those things in the industry when you've been painting prototypes for 12 years. And this goes to any business you work in when you're doing artistic work, commercial art or fine art, whatever. You can't ever settle on your techniques. If you're an artist that sits back and goes, I'm great at what I do and I don't have to improve, then you're not going to have longevity. You always have to improve on everything you do. Especially, there's tons of competition for us. So, granted, we're a full-on production company, but there's people that just paint toys. So, they'll get stuff, they paint it, and they're done. You know what I mean? We go from beginning to end, so our stuff takes a little longer, but luckily our final product is something that people will wait for. But yeah, it's and sometimes I do stuff like on prototypes where they drop it, they can't afford it. So in production, so sometimes when the product does come out, it doesn't look like my prototype, or they'll make me change the prototype before they even solicit. So I do solicitations. You know what I mean? So because I usually try to go all out on everything, no matter what it is. We were painting a bunch of those vinyl banks for Diamond, and we were doing all the zombies for The Walking Dead, and I went nuts. I went nuts, and can't remember Chris Schaff, the project manager, came back. He's like, "Dude, these are $20, man. We can't do $20 worth of paint application on it. You're gonna have to make them look good, but not crazy." Because I painted them like a moquette, like you would get from Sideshow. That would probably be like $90 to $100. So these were like $20 blown vinyl. So yeah, but yeah, it's I do paint as much as I can, as good as I can. So, but I've never, with as busy as I am as a painter, I don't really have time to sit down and grab something to paint for myself. You know what I mean? It's like
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, right now in my shop, I've got I'm like 20 projects that I have to paint before the show. Wow. So they're all pretty much big pieces. So so I'm getting enough practice, I think, with all that kind of stuff. So
you said you work with Mattel, so I got to ask, did Did you work on their new Masters of the Universe 2-pack they're having at San Diego
Nah,
Comic Con?
That is the Four Horsemen, and that will always remain the Four Horsemen, man.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The collection is Cornboy and all those guys up there, man. So they're great guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we worked with Mondo on the 12-inch Masters of the Universe stuff.
Mhm.
We did
Oh,
we
cool.
did the 3D printing. Now I'm not going to say anything because I don't know what they've solicited because I don't follow the website. So, but what I know, we did the He-Man, Faker, and Skeletor for them. And we've done all the 12-inch figures for Mondo. Well, not the Kratos. We did God, I wish I could have done that one, but we did the Batman animated stuff, the Moto stuff. I want to say there was a couple other things we've worked on for them. I can't remember all of it, man. Everything kind of rolls into one another. You know, you do so much for the one line that I got disappointed with that didn't get fulfilled with was the DC Direct or DC Entertainment movie line that they were going to put out with they put out the Superman and the armored Batman for that line. They were hyper articulated and they were high end looking.
Wow.
We prototyped like 30 figures for them, all movie related, and they were gorgeous action figures, man, gorgeous figures, and they just never saw the light of day. We still have all the prototypes for them, which is kind of cool. So, but you know, it just kind of sits and collects dust now. They're in boxes, so yeah.
Well, we are probably approaching our time. Does anybody else have maybe one or two more questions if they want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I just have one more question. I know you said that you work with Diamond Select, and so I don't know if you could answer this, but are they doing more 1/6 scale Star Wars stuff now that they are partnering up with Gentle Giant?
They didn't partner up with Gentle. They bought Gentle Giant.
But yeah, well, that was the. I didn't want to say that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. They bought the LTD side. So Gentle Giant is still there for prototyping and movie stuff, but they're their own identity now. And I don't know the transition or how it's going to work. But I know they acquired everything that they have. So I'm sure Diamond is a company that I've worked for years, and I hope to continue to keep on working with them. We do a ton of work for Diamond, so that's pretty much my client right now that we pretty much have to do all the statues for. So we do a lot of the galleries, a lot of the half-scale busts, a lot of the resin, even action figures for them. We've done all the Kingdom Heart figures, all the MBX figures, Nightmare Before Christmas figures, Pacific Rim figures. You know, and then when it comes to galleries, it's whatever. You know, we do those, and then the resin, we do a bunch of those as well. And they have multiple resin sizes, so I think they have the Premier, the Milestone, and I believe there's something else. And then there's the gallery is the plastic. They have the two resins, the gallery, and then they have the PVC, and then they have the half-scale bust. And then they do mini busts, you know what I mean? So I don't know, honestly, I haven't heard what they're doing, but they've acquired the licenses. So, you know, I'm assuming why would they not incorporate them? Don't quote me on it, but why would they not incorporate everything they're making now? Because the lines are successful and they've tested the times. Their product sells. Diamond's got product that sells. Right? So why would they not incorporate every license they've acquired into it? I would expect to see it. I don't know if I'll see it because they do have now a prototyping department by purchasing the Gentle Giant side.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask you.
Yeah, they'll be doing stuff in-house and stuff like that. So I don't know if we'll ever see any of that because they have all the digital scans and stuff from the Star Wars stuff from the new movies.
Oh, okay.
So, but I would expect it. Nobody's really pumping out the Star Wars collectibles right now. So I would think it'd be time. They had a Star Wars license back in the day. We did majority of the banks, and we did those big quarter scale dolls they made. You know, we did a lot of those for them. I love the Star Wars properties too. I love Star Wars. I love everything fantasy too. So
that's why I was going to see if you were going to do it, but I didn't know they were still doing it with General. Did you work on that half scale Wolverine bust? Because I saw a prototype
for Diamond.
Yeah.
No, we haven't done the Wolverine. I haven't even seen that one. No, we haven't done the Diamond. That one we've done. So far, we've done the Spider-Man, the Rorschach, the Gypsy Danger one.
Iron Giant?
Not the Iron Giant. We did the Iron Man, the classic Iron Man.
Oh, wow. Nice.
There's a couple other ones I can't remember. And then we're working. I've got a bunch of them right now that are badass. So, you know, so it just varies.
Are those in scale with the Sideshow Legendary line?
I don't have any Sideshow Legendary, so I don't know. But they are half scale. So, yeah, for sure.
I just want to give a shout out to Rodney. Rodney had to leave the chat because of his audio issue, but he said whenever you showed The Dark Knight, he instantly went and pre-ordered it. So he got the money version. That's awesome.
A lot more people do because we want it to sell as much as we can, you know. So
Yeah,
it's been fun.
Just
I want to
the-
keep on developing for you guys. So you know,
So a couple-
just to let you know.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Matt.
I says just to let you know, I'm looking at it too.
Yeah, me too.
I'm about to order it
Yeah.
right now, Matt.
I'm on it right
That's
now.
right.
Pre-order.
Everybody that's in the chat, I want you to make sure you give Jason a thumbs up. Make sure you do that, and then just go order the Batman. Everybody go order.
well, we're hoping they'll be Chad's going to have them at the Tweeterhead booth at San Diego, which is only like a month away. So you know, we're hoping once people get to physically see them, you know, because there's a big difference when you see something in person than when you see it online and all that. When you actually get to physically see the model, there's usually a lot more pumping up about it too as well.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I have a feeling that's going to happen a lot this year at San Diego Comic-Con.
yeah,
There's a lot of things that have been solicited, especially, you know, I mean, I'm a statue guy, especially sideshow stuff. It's just photograph right now. Nobody's seen it in person, and when they see it in person, I bet you a lot of these statues are going to disappear.
Oh yeah, I last year at San Diego, I got a lot of friends that work at Sideshow, and it was like, I was like, dude, I'll just see you after the show because there's no on earth I'm even going to get into that crowd and just try to get to you and take me 20 minutes just trying to walk to you. That booth was swamped every time I try to go up there. So
I'm jealous.
Luckily, I get to go in before the show starts, so I get to do like go during setup and everything like that. So I'm able to walk around and see a lot more stuff. I don't get to see it as much as I want to. Because we do have meetings and stuff like that when I'm at the show, but and panels and stuff. But and I get tired eventually because I work so much prior to San Diego Comic-Con or Toy Fair that it's me and my wife go out there together, and it's kind of like my vacation from vacation. You know, it's like, you know, I spend time with her, and luckily she's been coming to San Diego with me, and everywhere I go, she knows more people in the industry than me, so it's very easy for me to take my wife along. Because she's like the life of the party for me. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. She's a big fan of everybody, and you know, she's got, like I said, she's gotten to know a lot of people in the industry. And I'm trying to get her to start doing unboxing videos because, like, I've got product that's just sitting. And normally I just open up, put up on a shelf, but I'm trying to get her to start doing unboxing videos of all the product, and she probably has enough to do like 50 YouTube shows.
Oh, wow.
Boxes upstairs. So yeah.
Like, again, if she doesn't want to do it, just send it to me and I'll do it for you.
Too, man, because these boxes are starting to collect dust.
Yeah, that's awesome, though. That's awesome. Well, we're getting ready to do some pictures here. You're more than welcome to stay if you want. Otherwise, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being on here. This was just a pleasure to have you here, and just the knowledge that you dropped tonight was amazing. Again, just you know, just like Chad did last time and you did this time, it's you know, we're geeky about all this stuff, but I think the people in these groups were so thirsty for the behind the scenes stuff, you know, how these things are made. We all, I know at least in this group, we all appreciate the art aspect of it just as much as the actual physical product of, you know, getting it in hand.
Oh yeah.
But just everything that goes into it, it's always amazing because we don't always get to see that process. So I appreciate you and just all the amazing work you've done.
Thank you.
And it's just awesome. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure doing it. But I'm gonna have to get back to work though. I've got to start cleaning castings and stuff for tomorrow's paint work.
Oh boy.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Nonstop, man. So all right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Nice meeting all of you, and I'm sure I'll do another video at Chris here not too long from now. So
hey, we would love that.
Awesome, Jason.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Take
All
care.
right, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
That was very cool, man.
Yeah,
Just-
that was some,
just
that was
so
some
much.
knowledge dropping.
Yeah, most likely probably pre-order this. I mean, for $235, you really can't.
Oh, are we having a live pre-order?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He said,
I mean, I was saying for $235 for like a 1/6 scale statue with that much detail,
That's
especially
pretty-
I'm looking at the mud version.
yeah, the mud version is the best.
It's,
To me, it just looks.
yeah, it's the better version.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not. How many? Well, I don't even know what's the edition size in this, but I'm surprised.
Not enough.
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
the thing again. I just appreciate about Tweeterhead is they've kept their prices so consistent,
Yeah.
which is kind of unheard of.
Well, I was expecting when I think when Chad dropped or teased this, I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, like 4, but $235. That's
Well, and he's a little bit bulkier too, with his shoulders and stuff. He looks like a larger piece,
yeah,
but he's cool.
yeah, it looks really nice. Yeah,
Man, I tried to really back him into a corner and get him to do some tutorial videos. Damn.
you almost got a job there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean,
No,
it sounds like that's still a possibility that they're wanting to put some content out there.
Man, I would have loved. I would love to watch like technique videos or anything. Like he was talking about like clean wipes and dirty wipes of the cape, and like I understand conceptually what it is, but to like watch somebody do it and then try to apply that in stuff that I do, I would be super interested.
I was going to watch that. I was going to ask him that too, and then I forgot that when he was talking about like the samples for the factory and the instructions for the factory. I wonder if he had ever filmed himself doing it, and then get that. Seems like that would be really helpful if the artist could actually see him doing each stroke and how he did it. But I think that'd be interesting.
The edition size for the dirty version of Batman is 750.
Wow.
Dirt nasty.
Dirty. Gotta go dirty.
Yep, gotta go dirty.
Right, dirty.
So even adding it to the cart, there's like a little animation when you add it to the cart. It's addicting to me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just you hit add to cart and it's go to the site and do it. It's funny.
That's cool. That's awesome.
You also have to check out right afterwards.
That's right.
That was great, man. I love hearing the behind the scenes stuff, man. I'm super jealous that he gets to see stuff, and I would love to be in that shop right now.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I get to see stuff when I go down to like Vince Vell's house and I see the stuff he's working on, and I'm like, man, I would love to post some pictures. He's like, don't you dare. I'm like,
yeah, I bet so. And his skin that he does is just insane.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to watch.
I bet. Do you guys want to look at pictures still?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let me. I forgot to select myself last time, so let me make sure I do that.
Yo, San Diego Comic-Con is going to be crazy.
Yeah, I wish I could be, man.
I was specifically talking about Juggernaut too. Like, I have a feeling, everybody has seen Juggernaut only in pictures, and when they see that thing in person, people are going to freak out.
They're going to pre-order it. Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, even personally, I've only seen Bane. Actually, Chris, you're doing a giveaway for your 10,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen only pictures and like people shoot video of it, and I just went to a collector's house last weekend and saw it for the first time in person. I was like, whoa, this thing is huge. And I'm like, Juggernaut's going to be bigger than that guy.
It's amazing to me how, like, I was just in Denver last week and I went to we don't have anything like that around here. But I went to the Comic-Con there, and then I also went to a great comic book shop. I have a video coming up next week just to see some of these statues that I normally wouldn't buy, but you forget sometimes how big they really are. Mm-hmm. And like I'm surrounded by 1/3, but when I go to those shops, I'm like, oh my God, like this Deadpool statue is massive. Like it's so big, and it's just always so impressive to see things in person. I saw the Nightmare Joker in person. That was absolutely amazing. Just stuff that I wouldn't necessarily consider, but then I saw it and I'm like, oh man, I should maybe get this. But it is amazing sometimes when you see these things. But
yeah.
So you guys can see this full screen.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to start with these. This is from Wonder Fest. An amazing event. I'm kind of going a little bit bust crazy. I've been kind of joking about becoming the bust man statue collector.
Oh man!
Just because I really like these a lot. I have the Queen Studios Ledger Joker, and that's kind of what started me with this, just because of just how cool it is in person. But what do you guys think of all these busts?
I just can't believe that it's becoming like having a huge market, and it's very unique too, which is really, really good. Queen Studios kind of came out of nowhere with that that Joker and the
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Yo, the Wolverine. I totally forgot about that. But now they're just pumping them out, man, and that's pretty cool.
I know Stephen Lee from Whiplash Collectors. I talked to him earlier this week, and he does have that Wolverine in hand. He said it's just so phenomenal in person, and he would never part with it. I posted something in my group. I was worried about, people say, no, don't buy them. They don't match your theme. They won't hold their value. But I just view these as art pieces. I view them as, these amazing works of art. I don't worry about them, disintegrating over time. It's medical grade. It's, it should last, at least 80 years.
Yeah. What I think about that too is, man, you don't listen to somebody else telling you that. I mean, if it's something that that you think that you want and you envision you seeing that in your collection, and then you one day not having it and wishing you had it, that'd be like the worst, and you can't get it anymore,
Yeah. And that's the main thing is like I worry about, okay, if I'm spending the money on these, that's less money I spend on Batman things.
Yeah.
And so that's what my channel is. So I'm kind of conflicted right now, but at the same time, I'm like, I just absolutely love these things.
You could be more, Chris.
You could always make a second channel, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on that, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But it's a Disney channel, so quite a bit different content, but
Yeah.
with our family stuff. But
you've got options. You've got options.
Yeah, I'm making a breakdance channel as my second channel.
I want to see pole dancing on that too. Do you guys have a favorite of these that I'm showing here? Do you
out of the Queen Studios or just in the?
Let's just talk about Queen Studios first.
I really like I like the Thanos, but then I see him in like pictures and stuff. Like he looks a little bit too purple. I don't know.
They said that it really depended on the lighting. The lighting was really odd.
Okay.
I've seen some pictures that are like
here it looks fine.
Yeah, like he was super oversaturated. Like here he's too purple.
Yeah.
But they said that in certain photos that it made him way darker than he is. He's like I feel like this one's a little bit better.
Yeah, that looks good.
It's got a little bit of that pink in it. That sometimes you see him and he was almost pink looking.
Yeah.
But here you can kind of see the size. I don't know if they used a really small dude here, but pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think Thanos and Hulk are the most impressive.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Those two and the Iron Man piece is the ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Iron Man piece is pretty affordable. I think it's like 1,000, right?
Yeah, it's a little over 1,000, so it's not bad. It's comparable to Sideshow with their pieces. This is the Wonder Woman bust. They announced earlier this week that it was going to be limited to 100, and then they backed off of that. They said that was incorrect information. So the edition size for Wonder Woman and Hulk has not been released yet. I think from this angle, it looks exactly like Gal Gadot, but then from the front, I feel like it doesn't.
Yeah,
which is weird. I don't know why.
That's just some gal, not Gal Gadot. Get it?
Gal Gadot. But I feel like this is a cool piece. There was one I felt like that was better.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been, yeah.
I wonder if they're getting actual 3D scans for their stuff.
I don't know. I would almost wonder if that's true. But if they,
I would assume it is.
If it is, though, I mean, you would like people have said on this photo, like they said maybe her nose wasn't quite right. So if it's not quite right, then I would think maybe that it wasn't a scan. I don't know, but it's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, the stuff is so accurate. It almost makes me think, how could somebody have sculpted all of them to be so accurate? Because they look like 3D scans.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Her Wonder Woman's price, I believe, was $2,900. Hulk was, I think, $2,400.
What?
Oh my god!
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is Hulk cheaper?
Because I think Wonder Woman has so much more silicone with the skin.
Yeah.
It's the silicone that's the expensive part. So the more you see, it was the same way with, and we'll get to Infinity Studios here in a minute, but Batman's the cheapest and he's the biggest by far. But it's because the only part that's silicone is his chin.
That butt chin.
The butt chin. Yep, that's right. Here's another one I considered. Loki. He's really one of my favorite characters in the MCU. I love Loki. The face is a little off to me, just a little bit, but they are going to offer a separate version with his helmet. It will be a different price. I did find that out this week.
Okay.
I feel like it's for me, it's the wrong helmet. If I was gonna buy a Loki,
Yeah,
I would want the first
first
Avengers
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love because that's the helmet I got, and I love that thing. But
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure, and he's expensive. I think he was like 2,800.
yeah,
And he doesn't. He's just the face. So
well, maybe the hair is part of
yeah,
that.
the hair is hand punched. So it's, like I said, it's very expensive for these things.
Wow.
These are about as high end as you can get. This one is really cool. This one, if you shine a black light on it, it glows blue in various areas. So I thought this one was neat too, just in concept. I feel like this one looks a little bit more rubbery to me.
Yeah.
But still a cool piece.
How much is that one?
Gosh, I do not know. I don't know if it's been announced yet.
Okay.
I mean, imagine having just one of these in a dining room, just in a corner, just looking at you while you ate dinner. So crazy.
Like,
I don't think I can get away with putting my Joker down there.
Yeah. It would be straight up weird.
This is the Iron Spider-Man by them also. This one is sold out, but it was around $1,000 also.
Yeah.
So a little bit more affordable. And then this is the Iron Man prototype. The back is removable, but this is what it looked like unpainted, and this is what it looks like painted. This is a digital render, but he is going to come in clean, which we see here. And then there's also a damaged version. I think if I was going to get one, I think I would get the damaged.
yeah, me too.
But this is the one I'm probably considering buying regardless, just because Iron Man's my second favorite character next to Batman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chris, you should get them and review it.
Yeah, and the price is good. I know that they've announced that they're going to do a bunch of DC characters. So I'm kind of wondering if I should just maybe hold out a little bit on some of the Marvel ones and just wait and see. I'm worried about not being able to find them down the road. But I thought about maybe at least getting the Iron Man.
Yeah.
And again, a little over $1,000 for this one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's not bad.
and the back, like I said, the back. What are those jets? I don't know what do you call those things.
Looks like his repulsors.
Yeah. So anyway, those can be removed. This is then Infinity Studio. These guys kind of came out of nowhere too. They do a lot of statues. Infinity Studios is working with Sideshow. They have been distributing a few of their items. I'm not sure 100% if these will be through Sideshow or not, but I know that they do work together. So this one, of course, is the Ben Affleck Batman. I really like this piece. I wish it wasn't the tech suit. I wish it was just the regular version of him. Queen Studio is going to do a version of him also, but it'll just be the shoulders.
But a movie version.
Yeah, movie version. So it'll be
Man, I just think about if they made a Wolverine like this, I would order it in a second. Not a movie version, a human a comic book version.
Yeah.
Like that pose is so you would. How do you not stare at that?
I know, and it's it's so incredibly insanely realistic.
It's nuts.
I posted this. I posted a photo of this really close up too. Like all of the little stubble in his hair or his chin, that's all hand punched.
Yeah, it's actually creeping me out, man.
I'll move it to a different picture then. This is Henry Cavill Superman.
I think that's incredible.
It's incredible. This is a photo, kind of give you an idea.
That is sick, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to go to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum to see all these crazy sculpts, but now you can just bring it home.
And that's what I love. I've always been fascinated. I think I said that in my group too. I've always liked Disney animatronics. I've always liked Madame Tussauds, and just growing up, going to different wax museums and just looking at looking at it with amazement. Look at this thing. Do you guys see the sweat?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's incredible.
There's sweat. It's just insane.
I was a switch out head with Christopher Reeves.
That'd be pretty cool.
I was gonna ask you, is that like real hair? Like, is that
Yeah.
someone's real hair?
It's like a wig. I mean, but it's hand punched.
Damn.
Like my Joker is all hand punched, but it's a wig. Like
Yeah.
Well, is it synthetic hair or is it
synthetic? It's
human hair?
Okay.
Yeah. Now this is a different company, so I don't know what they're using, but this looks a little softer to me.
Mm. Yeah.
Then we have this is my hit of the show. I feel like this is
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Yeah. I was sold on it, and for for my reason,
comments and Facebook.
oh my gosh, I was just like, I'm getting this. This is gonna be, you
guys all see Wonder Woman. I see Wolverine in that pose. What? No, sorry. I'm just seeing him and I'm like, yo, I would buy that in a heartbeat. Because I mean, Wonder Woman's doing nothing for me. I mean, I get it. It looks like her and it's amazing, but I don't instantly go, oh, I want to buy it. But man,
this is yeah.
I think I'm getting this one.
Oh my gosh, Chris, I'm coming over, baby.
Yeah, I know. Somebody lock the doors quick. PJ's coming over.
Crazy.
I'll be sneaking in, man. No, I was kidding.
I feel like I wouldn't even be able to explain.
Can you imagine, Chris turns on the light and there I am. What the hell?
That'd be
explain
hilarious.
that to your wife.
That's terrifying. Yeah, she really likes it.
Oh wow, then it's a go.
Yeah,
That's definitely a go.
There you go. I'm telling you. Just
yeah. Every time my wife sees Gal Gadot, she's like, "Whew, she is a looker."
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yo. So how much is you said it was about,
Okay, so this one is by far the most expensive. This one they're estimating to be between $3,100 and $3,300, which is again insane. And I think Batman was, he might have been like 21, 2,300 somewhere in there.
Oh wow.
Which is still an insane amount of money.
anyone,
doesn't it?
anyone want to buy my Thanos in that throne so I could?
Doesn't it scare you a little bit that there isn't much history with either company as far as in hand, customer review? Because what if you pay this obnoxious amount, and then you're like, well, I guess it doesn't really look the same as that prototype looked.
I can only speak for my Joker. When the original photos came out, I was kind of real iffy. I didn't want to spend that much money. It's like, oh my God, it's insane. And then I waited till after it was already out, and they were sold out. I contacted my guy and said, hey, can you find me one of these? And he scoured and found one because I had seen just maybe 3 or 4 photos of in hand. And so that's all I was going off of. But having it in person, it is so much better than the prototype. It's painted so well. It looks way more like Heath Ledger to me than the prototype did. So I can't say enough good things about Queen Studio just based off of one I have.
Wow.
So I want to know what the actors think about this.
Yeah, they must be like, what the?
If I was like that high profile and I was out seeing people with my face in their houses, I'd be like, it's a little weird.
It is.
Especially if it's in my house.
Yeah, because you got to think, man. You never know, man. I mean, what some people are going to be sitting and doing with these things.
I'm not gonna lie.
You don't have the camera on DJ right now.
I mean, there's some serious freaks out there. So.
That's why she's giving you this third look.
If they only knew.
Yeah. What about Gal Gadot's real stalker? I mean, he might buy all of them, and then you
Just
never
sitting
know.
around how was work today? It's got a plate of food for it,
Or he has him. He has her in one of her, eating dinner and stuff. What the?
Yeah, it's got one in the bedroom, one in the kitchen, one in the living room. It's
gross.
got its own outfit for it and everything. Oh my man! Oh man!
Gal, how do you like the grilled chicken?
Yeah,
It's delicious, right? How's your day?
Oh, what are you doing tonight? Oh, me and Gal are gonna go out on a walk.
That's right. Carry her around on your
We're,
hip.
we're Netflix. We're Netflix
God.
and chilling tonight.
Oh Jesus!
What
Stop.
do you guys think of this one compared to the Queen Studio with the
Oh,
cross?
blows it out of the water.
This one's way better.
Way
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, that one's way better.
I feel like with the Queen Studio ones, and I don't know why I feel this way. They're amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like some of them have to be viewed from a certain angle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I see. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Avengers Assemble Black Panther that was revealed this week. This is a little bit smaller scale. What do you guys think of this one?
Yeah, I like it.
Super dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, I think they did a really good job with that whole line. I think that those all look pretty good.
I saw the Iron Man one in person last week, and I was really impressed. I was like, "This looks really great."
Yeah. This one's pretty nice.
Yeah, 1/5 scale is I've come to like that 1/5. That's
Yeah.
a nice scale.
It's very collectible and very affordable.
Yeah.
Space saver.
I do worry about some of these, like with leaning and things like that. I would assume this one has a pretty long peg.
Yeah. Probably goes all the way to his arm or something.
Yeah, I would hope.
I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so.
Cool piece.
Yeah, there's probably a rod up through that leg and up through the body even.
And this one goes up for pre-order, I think tomorrow. If I remember right. So I'll have that on the Facebook group.
Yeah,
That's
Cool.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we've been off for a month, so I know you guys have seen these, but this is, of course, is the 1/3 scale Bane.
Oh, big boy.
yeah.
Are you getting it, Chris?
The plan is yes. Again, it kind of depends on what I do with these busts. I really like it. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a monster of a piece.
I'm really worried about the price.
Yeah.
I know Mac is worried about the price.
Yeah, I'm worried about it too. I'm worried about the space.
Mac
Yeah.
already pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I already did it.
Mac, are you getting Gal?
This is the crazy thing about this piece is the base has an actual 1/3 scale Batman in it.
I know, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Some people hate because they're like, well, if I have any other Batman on display, I can't have this beaten Batman down there, which I get, but this is still a very, really neat idea.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just being, I don't know.
What I think would be kind of funny is like if you have it like displayed and like you have somebody come over to your house and they're like, man, this thing's crazy, it's big, and they're like just kind of look down and like, why is Batman down it? Why is he down there just all beat up?
That's right.
Oh man.
It's a cool piece. Some people have said maybe his hands are a little bit too big.
Yeah.
It's perspective.
Yeah, it's perspective. And this is, again, taken from comic art. This is
Because it doesn't look big there. Yeah.
This is David Finch. So it's just, again, one of my favorite artists. So it's a cool piece.
It's really nice. So I think I heard they said it was going to be as around as big as Doomsday. Doomsday is huge. So
I think Doomsday is the biggest. I think Doomsday and then Killer Croc right underneath him.
Okay, all right.
What I've been told. So I think he's going to be about I'm assuming about Killer Croc size.
Yeah, Doomsday is like stupid big. It's like having like a toddler.
I was gonna say, Mac, when I saw that video, I was like, what the? It's like a baby.
Yeah,
Are they going to offer this without the Batman base?
No.
What? I feel like that's such a missed opportunity. I'm not going to lie.
And that's the thing about, like, they did the same thing with Harley. Everybody begged them to have Harley without that big building base.
Yeah.
Which I think it would be smart on their part because they could
I
just
think so too, man.
And then, because if they're not going to sell it, if they don't sell as many as they want, give collectors other options. This base is going to take up a giant amount of real estate. I have these stands on the side of my room that can hold 2 statues. This is going to take up one of those whole stands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things.
You got to think.
Would
you got to think too? Like I'm a big fan of doing face-offs. I want. Yeah. I like to have like a face-off villain hero, and how do you put Batman in front of him?
Yeah, you can't.
That's like such a missed opportunity. I feel because that would be. Imagine a Batman facing off against him. That's like bookends. Put that right on the side of a fireplace. Like
yeah. And I imagine my display kind of like I had with my sideshow. If having Bane, having a Harley, having a Bermejo Joker, or whatever. But can I put Bane right next to my Noel Batman? I don't know, because the Batman's right there. So it is. I like the statues to tell a story, and this one does, but it does limit how you can display it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's super dope, and I'm sure there's going to be tons of people like you guys are all saying you're going to pick it up. But man, what about the guys who are like, man, I just want just Bane? I feel like it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy looking. Look at that face. Oh,
and maybe,
God.
Maybe they'll consider it. Maybe they will. I didn't. I forgot to add the photos. There's a second head sculpt. It's taken directly from the comics.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like his mask is all ripped open and he's raging. It's cool sculpt. Really cool. But sorry, I forgot to put that in here.
Damn, Prime One's killing it.
Well, this is the one we talked about earlier. This is the tweeter headpiece first, and hopefully many.
Yeah, it's
really nice.
It's dope. That's awesome.
Yeah, great price point. Great price point.
Yeah,
Collectible, nice size.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I love that you talked about just the amount of detail they're able to put into a smaller scale now.
Yeah.
It shows here. I mean, this looks
that thing's
easily like a premium format at least,
Yeah.
if not better.
There's nothing to not like about that.
Yeah, especially in the market where it's surrounded by 1/3 and 1/4 scale statues and now busts. To come out with like a 1/6 scale line piece and have it be affordable is just tweeter heads listening, or they're taking a look at the collectors now. So,
Yeah, I feel like this could be a new black and white line, right? I mean, that line has been so popular and still carries on, and it was a gateway drug for a lot of us. And I feel like this could certainly insert itself into the market as that new sort of starting point for a lot of people.
Yeah, Chad said the same thing. He's hoping that that's exactly what that does. But okay, let's see what else we got here.
Yeah, that thing is super fresh, and I'll say it again. I don't know which one I like better. Both of them look awesome.
They both look amazing. Yeah,
different.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's like so clean. That like clean version, man. They did a really nice job overall. Like everything, the pose, the
look at the cape texture.
Yeah, that cape is awesome.
Really good.
Yeah, it's I think I would go with clean.
Ugh, it's tough.
It is tough.
They're both good, and they're both so different. Like I said, it's just
yeah.
They give you a whole different feel on both of them. God dang it! Now I might have to get this one too.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get anything smaller than 1/4, but we'll see. This is this. Speaking of smaller scale, this is 1/10. This was revealed this week. This is for the people that are collecting the Iron Studios in-game pieces. I really like that they included Rocket. I thought that was really cool.
I don't remember his colors being like that, but
that was at the end when he gets crushed with the rock. He like canopies out of it.
Yeah,
and then he puts on another suit, but they just don't show it.
Yeah, but I always thought it was still like darkish gray because of the where it was, how dark it was. But damn, I don't remember it being like blue and.
It was just at the very, very end.
Yeah.
Divine is watching. He said he's placing that Bane at the gate in front of his house, and he's going to use that instead of lions.
You gotta have two then, because they always have two lions. You gotta have two Banes.
Imagine you could put like a UV protectant coating on it and just like have that, man.
Hey, Divine, I want to be invited to your house then. That'd be awesome. That's awesome.
I've always dreamt of having like a life-size Magneto, like in a fountain, and like a circle driveway, like right in the middle of a
pieces
circle
of asphalt floating around. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, the water would be coming out of his palm and creating the force field around him.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be coming out of his mouth.
Oh God! But man.
I threw all these in here because Dan was supposed to be on the show and Jeff, and both of them had some family issues. I know that they were. Oh, good. I know that these were really awesome pieces to them. They've been collecting these pieces, and so this was again from Iron Studio. These are all 1/4 scale. I think these are all good.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah, they're great.
Great sculpt. I saw the in the sideshow live they had the Thanos.
Speaking of him,
Oh
right there,
yeah,
Yeah, he's big.
Thanos and Captain America.
Yeah,
I was surprised on how big he is, and I thought he looked really good on the show.
yeah,
I like this version better with the helmet.
yeah, with the helmet.
I think this head looks a little odd to me, like it's too small.
Small. Yeah.
Yeah,
Too small. But and the Infinity Gauntlet is the red one. You know, it's cool.
Inaccurate.
Yeah, it's inaccurate. I do like this pose better. But yeah, it was a big piece, really big piece.
I still think I like the original one, but man, Studios is smoking it lately.
They are out of the gate amazing right now.
yeah. And I love the video that Bruna did for you for your channel.
Yeah, that was awesome. What a cool event, man.
Yeah, I heard their store is like that. You know,
We just don't get anything like that here.
I
Right?
know what the heck.
They're always just these giant scale things. You know, it's like, I mean, clearly they have the people there. I mean, to fill these booths, but man, just incredible.
I wish there would be like some pop up stores that kind of like.
Oh, nothing would last on the shelves.
Yeah, I know.
We would go to those stores and gobble everything up. They wouldn't even be able to keep them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know much about these. This is the XM Studio Cyborg. I didn't see much coverage about this guy at all. This is the only photo I could find.
Looks different.
Yeah, it's odd to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, I don't know if it's from a particular comic or something, but I don't know, just a little different. And then they also had the Lobo there on display. I had not seen that on display this way. So many Lobos right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What scale is that?
1/6.
Okay.
But nice details. This one was from Prime One. Now they didn't have anything new on display, but they did have her on display. But it is a different head sculpt and the W is a little different on her chest. I think she still looks really good. I feel like she looks less Gal Gadot now than she did at the first show. I don't know why they changed it, or maybe that was the whole point, is they didn't want it to look like her.
Yeah,
They want
maybe
a skirt
licensing.
too over. Yeah, it might be a licensing issue. They want a skirt too over pants. The original version had pants. They changed quite a bit about this.
Yeah, they did.
It's like a different statue now.
I didn't
don't
realize
know.
about the pants. Yeah, that's a good point.
And one of the groups I was on, I saw a lot of people saying that they liked the original better. I don't know. I like this one better.
Yeah, I think this feels more Wonder Woman to me.
Yeah.
Now, they also added like her hair in front of her face. That was new. The other one didn't have that, but I think both of them looked really good. But I think I prefer this one too.
Yeah, I do.
Same here.
This is a 1/2 scale Jason Momoa Aquaman from Queen Studio. They are going to do half scales as well, but of course they're going to use polystone or resin or whatever, and then they're going to use the medical grade silicone for the heads.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's stupid. Crazy.
That's bonkers, man. What's happening?
That's just going. This is taking statue collecting to a whole different level, man.
And a whole new
What's
price point, too.
happening?
Yeah, what the?
Yeah, this is insane. And then I think I threw this in here. This was the photo reveal today,
Dude,
of what he looks like sculpted.
Like, I'm not even into movie pieces, but like, I didn't. Whatever.
It's
imagine if they
impressive.
did like a Scarlett Johansson, like, or
Oh my
Black Widow.
gosh,
Are you
PJ.
kidding?
Like, that's insane.
From what I've heard, I think that they own the rights to all characters in DC and Marvel.
Wow.
Jeez, wow.
At least the cinematic versions, anyway.
Damn. Shoot. Wow. You know, I collect Hot Toys because of the sculpts, you know, like how realistic they are. Damn, like this is seriously like a whole different level, man.
And I think people have collected Hot Toys because of those head sculpts.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. You know, if people will switch over to these larger scales now that the head sculpts are so lifelike. I don't know.
Shoot, yeah.
It's possible.
I mean,
But-
I'm not a big Aquaman fan, but
Yeah, this isn't a piece I would get, but at the same time, imagine again, like a half scale Ledger Joker or something with
Oh my!
silicone and real hair.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
I would love to get.
And I've heard that might be happening.
Oh my goodness! Don't tell me that.
Yeah, I'm going to be in trouble all around.
How about that?
All around, I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you think. You should probably. Oh man, how do you mess them, huh?
I know.
Jeez, just wait.
Yeah, just like Thor always says, you got to be patient. And I feel like I need to be more patient. See what else comes out. But this is Superboy and Robin. This is unveiled today. I mean, we've seen it before, but these are the pre-orders up now. This isn't one that I would get. I know George over at MCE ordered this today.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got to see it in person, I think. But it's a cool piece.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mac, is this anything on your radar at all?
Halfway.
Halfway. All right.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Wow, Divine is saying it was only $58 to ship this.
Yeah, they were saying the economy shipping was really cheap on this.
So the only thing that I don't get about the economy shipping is because I know it's cheaper, but like you also are kind of like at the whim of like getting the pieces a lot later, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's talk about that. So basically what happens is, let's say you bought from Sideshow prior. Okay.
Right.
So like everybody in China or wherever would get their statues way before Sideshow. You know, you'd start seeing photos of in-hand photos and whatever. And then maybe a month, 2 months later, Sideshow would get it. So that's basically the same thing that's happening here. So if you pay for full price shipping, you're going to get it right then, you know, within a week. But if you pay economy shipping, it would be about the same amount of time as it would have if it had been through Sideshow.
Gotcha.
Because they have to send it over the ocean on these barges, from what I've heard.
Yeah, because Sideshow's not going to absorb the cost of flying it.
Correct. So that's why it always took longer
Why would they?
Sideshow to get it. Because basically we're going to be waiting the same amount of time. The only difference is when you ordered through Sideshow, you were paying Sideshow when it shipped to you.
Gotcha.
Now, Prime 1, you might be paying 2 or 3, 1 to 3 months earlier before you get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be the only difference, is you're going to be paying for it before you get it.
Yeah, you're paying for them to put it on the boat, and then the boat is going to travel all the way across the ocean.
Yeah, correct.
You're saving money by not paying those Sideshow fees that they charge.
Yes, and like I ordered the Bermejo Joker from Prime 1.
Yeah,
it's my second order through them, and I can't remember how much the economy shipping was. It was more than $58, but it still wasn't bad.
Yeah,
and I know that I'm meant to pay for it way before I get it, but I don't care. I just want to get it. So
save some money too.
I'll wait. I don't care. I'm waiting. This one right here. This is the when they first announced it, I thought they announced this as a legendary scale.
They did,
but this is not legendary scale.
It is not.
Like it is not. Look at that. Not even close.
What a bummer.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would have shrunk it down unless they just don't feel like people would have paid the cost for it, because this thing was pretty affordable, but it's small. I mean, it's really, is this even a quarter scale?
That's like quarter scale. That's about quarter scale, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody measured it up. Yeah,
I think the Tweeterhead Joker, or not Joker, Tweeterhead Skeletor that I have is quarter scale, and it's that size.
Yeah, it's just I just don't understand why they would have shrunk it, but I still think it's a neat piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have 16 legendary scale busts, and the only one that's 10 inches is Wolverine.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If anything, that he should be scaled up.
Yeah, and then even Sabretooth is compact, but he's still like 11.5 inches.
Yeah, but I still think it's a cool piece. I just wish it was true legendary scale. If it was a Tim, or is this one that you bought, or is it one that you would buy if it was legendary scale?
If it was half scale, I would have bought this because I have Cap, I have Black Panther, I have Iron Man. I would have sold my Thanos on Throne and kept this.
Did Sideshow ever say why they shrunk it?
No. I think it's like the start of maybe potentially like a new line.
Huh. Well,
but I don't know why they...
New price point then too.
Yeah, why would they abandon the legendary scale though? Because I don't know. I love that line. I don't know.
Well, it's like the 1-to-1 scale bust. They abandoned that for a really long time, and then started bringing the Marvel ones back. So maybe we'll see a resurgence. I don't know. That's a cool detail. This one was XM Studio revealed this week. This is a Batman Hush, and this is either 1/6 or 1/5. I can't remember. I think 1/6.
I think you're right. I think it's 1/6.
People noticed it looks like it says R.I.P. Jason Todd. This is taken from Hush. But again, kind of goes back to what Jason said. I appreciate when they do these versions from the comics. I enjoy that. But what do you guys think of this one?
I have to see it painted, but it looks good.
Yeah, sculpt looks good.
Some people really like the cape, or some people really hate the cape. So I think
I'd be worried about a lot of breakage with that.
a lot of points.
Yeah.
I feel like if you were collecting 1/6 scale Batmans, this one isn't instantly impressive like the Tweeterhead one.
Yeah,
I agree.
So it's like, you're comparing with whatever's on the market. The other Tweeterhead one is like, I would buy that instantly. This one is like, I guess it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
There's nothing wrong with it, but do I like
Right.
it? I don't know.
yeah,
I would agree with that.
and Tweeterhead's probably is a lot cheaper, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
No
for
question.
sure.
Half the price.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're exactly right. This is another XM piece. Again, not a lot of great photos of it at the show, but it's the first time I'd seen it painted.
Mhm.
So I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, not for the price, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think their 1/6 scale stuff is priced way high.
it
I would
is.
agree.
I agree.
Yep.
Especially compared to the other pieces in the market.
Mhm.
What do you think
Yeah.
about this one, Tim? This is up your alley here.
Super dope.
Is this
I did
one that you pick up?
I mean, I did the math on that one too, like rough math based on like prior sales and stuff. And I mean, it's really nice. I think I like it better than the Sideshow one as far as like the style, because it is like a classic rendition. It's more like what I would collect, but not for twice the price.
Mm-hmm.
It'll end up being almost $1,200.
Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah,
That is nuts.
$877 plus if you average the shipping cost of like previous ships, $250 for shipping. You're like, geez, that's a lot. You could buy 2 statues for that price from other companies.
yeah.
3 maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
And people were complaining about Juggernaut too.
Right. and then you think you really it's crazy, right? You have to do the math is there. $1,400 for Juggernaut, $1,200 for that Sabretooth.
Yeah.
And people no problem. I'm cool with that. Great price. It's nuts.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
yeah, it is nuts, and but I'm considering that Sabretooth for us, a team from Sideshow.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a great. I the more I look at it, I love the sculpt of his anatomy, man.
I think that one also, when people see it in person, are going to be like, wow, this is way big.
Yeah, wait
and
till
impressive.
San Diego.
I have a feeling San Diego Comic-Con Sideshow is going to blow the doors off that place.
Yeah.
They have to have something up their sleeve.
Oh yeah, they're gonna announce like another X-Men piece.
I would assume half a line.
Yeah.
I would assume at least get a Gambit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been talked about forever.
Yeah. But I mean, Tim, you're right. I mean, for half the price, I would get the Sideshow piece and then another statue.
Right. You could buy a Daniel Bell Logan and a Martin Canale Sabretooth for the price of that one Saber.
Yeah.
Like, and again, it's just it just comes down to like the economics of it. It's like, is that piece better? I like it better because it's more classic, and I want to collect classic stuff. But do I like it that much better to spend double the price?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I would rather get what's affordable, because the overall thing for me, I want more statues. I get that some people might want just 1 or 2 or 5. I want more. I want full lines. So,
But yeah, don't sleep on that sideshow, Sabretooth. The more I look at it, man, I'm telling you.
yeah, I love that one, man.
I'm gonna go look at it right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Lawrence. Lawrence has got to take off. Lawrence, thanks for being here tonight, bud.
See you
All right,
guys.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Thank
Later,
you.
brother.
See you, Lawrence.
Do you guys think that at San Diego Comic-Con, I keep thinking back to that Rogues Gallery print that they had. Do you think we're going to see more of those characters back here that Mr. Freeze and the other ones? Do you think we're going to see any more of those, or do you think they're going to focus more on Marvel?
I hope that you see more.
Yeah, I hope they do half and half.
I think Court of the Dead's going to be big.
Yeah.
Court of the Dead. I think now since Prime 1 is separated from them now, they're going to be missing like that space. Like, so they're probably going to try to fill it up, right?
I think they'll use Iron Studios
They'll use Iron Studios, so
because they've been really pushing them hard.
mhm.
So I think you'd see that. But I think hey Tim, you're right about the Court of the Dead, because I feel like, you know, the Iron Studios doing all the movie pieces and they're still doing some Marvel and stuff, but I feel like that's where they want to push it. They want to do their own stuff more.
Court of the Dead's the math is on their side to sell those pieces because they don't have to pay the license.
Yeah, it makes 100% perfect sense.
And the quality is amazing.
Yeah, I saw the first ones I've ever seen. There was a booth at the Denver Con, and I was like, "Whoa, these are actually really impressive." I had not seen any of them, but I was shocked. They were really good. Not something I'd collect, but it's still cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Let's see what else is coming up. I know who's all going. Are you all going to New York Comic Con? I know maybe Mac, maybe not.
I'm still looking into it right now. I'm actually
That's
got
awesome.
the thing up to look at the tickets right now.
That's awesome. My wife, she got a 2-day pass, so we're going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to meet you guys. Hopefully, we'll all get it to work out.
So it looks like Saturdays they sold out already, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're
So-
doing Thursday and Friday.
That's all you need. Yeah, that's all you need, Mac, to be honest.
Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I don't want
Yes.
to.
Saturday's actually crazy.
Yeah, you don't even want to go inside the con. So most likely we're probably gonna just hang out outside the con.
Yeah. My plan is to do Thursday for sure, and then maybe do Friday.
Yeah.
We got the ticket just in case,
Yeah.
and I got the press pass, so we can kind of come and go if we want. But I don't know. I at least want to experience it at least one day.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Thursday and Friday are the best days to go. It's not
Yeah.
as crowded. We could probably do a meetup or something. We'll try hopefully organize something where we can
Yeah, I
all
think
meet everyone that's on the chat or in the other groups and stuff. So that'd be
So
awesome.
you guys are going Thursday and Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Barbara Lopez posted something about her and her husband are going, and then Jim Mint said something about like us all meeting out front or something. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm sure something will be arranged at that point, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's gonna be big.
yeah, it's gonna be.
there, yeah.
Last year was big, and it was really nice seeing everyone at the con for the first time. That's where I met a Tim.
I'll
for
never
the
forget
first
it,
time.
PJ.
Yeah, it's like yesterday.
How nervous were you? I was so nervous.
I was nervous, really nervous.
I was so nervous to meet you, PJ.
Me too. I was like, my palms were sweaty. It was like like
Were your
blind
knees
date.
weak and your arms heavy?
Yeah, it was like a blind date. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. But we hit it off instantly. Same with Jem. I wasn't sure like how Jem was gonna be, but we just all hung out and just had that first night. Oh my gosh, too much fun.
Yeah,
Much.
man. I had a great time, and I'm
I had a
looking
really-
forward to more great times. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome, man. Whoever's in
Mom
the chat,
spaghetti.
make sure you guys go. It'll be really nice to meet everyone.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jeff
man.
Morris in the chat saying, "Who's buying that new Beyonce portrait from Sideshow?"
Oh, man.
Oh snap!
I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
Don't
Yo,
dare.
Beehive, yo, you don't know about me
Dare.
and Mac. We're part of the Beehive.
Yep. Matt, I'll unbox it and review it.
Don't you dare.
Ugh.
Don't you dare. Just copy it and print it out.
What the hell is going on with Sideshow? When did it? I'm
I
telling
would
you.
never. I would never buy that.
I don't know. I know they're trying to branch out into other things, but some of the stuff is just odd to me.
Yeah, it's just odd. I think the other day I was looking through their site. I saw like a doll that's like $500. That's like a Joker. I'm like, what the hell? What is going on here? And I'm just, it's just too. I don't know. I don't know.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's nuts. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, we've been going, almost 3 hours. That's my longest show ever on Rogues Galleries. Thank you guys hanging out with us.
Congratulations.
Really appreciate you guys being on the show.
Yeah, congratulations, Chris, on
the road to 10K.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you very much. Hopefully, if you're watching this, if you're not understanding what he's talking about, so we're almost to 10,000. Sideshow was nice enough to give me a Bane premium format. This one right here, the one in the video, I think it confused some people. I'm not giving away mine. They sent me a whole one. It's brand new. It's boxed up. I'm not going to open it up or anything. I'm just going to send it out to the winner. I forgot to say it in the video. I put it in the subtitle, but winners are going to have to pay for shipping, depending on where you are. So, but we were giving away 6 items, and Bane is the big one. So,
That's
want to give a shout out to Todd at Spec Fiction and also Diamond Select for providing those items. I'm just so excited to give them away. I just can't believe they gave me a Bane to give away. It's just so cool.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
great. And you're at 9.7K right now, so you're
9.7. So like just that, since I did that video, I think it was close to 100 new subscribers. So once we get to 10K, that's whenever I'll do a live drawing where we've been collecting all the names, and not exactly sure how I'm going to do it yet, but we'll have 6 winners. So
Awesome.
I'm really excited about that, and who knows what will happen from there. So, but I just can't believe that I have that many people that are interested in what I put out. So thank you guys. Definitely check out Mac's website, or not website, sorry, your YouTube channel as well, Mac Collections. I got the Paradox Nerd. Definitely hit subscribe there as well. And then Tim, do you want to talk about your new channel real quick? What you guys are working on with the X-Men stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's sure. I don't think it's not as big as a deal as I think people are making it out to be. I mean, I don't know that we're actually driving content. I think it's more of just like a place for focused conversation. Like we're gonna do focused unboxings solely for X-Men stuff, and a lot of the guys and gals in the group. So a lot of people that are on a lot of the chats, we're all getting the same pieces coming in, and I think the concept is for us to all wait and open them at the same time, and kind of do like multiple unboxings. And then there's talk to do maybe like roundup chats, not like a weekly thing. It could turn into that, so it's not limited to what I'm saying now, and I'm not making the rules for it. We're kind of, all collaborating to just have like a space that's more focused to like the things that we really love, because there really isn't anything like that right now. So
yeah,
should be fun.
And that's you and Barbara Lopez and Anthony Forbes, and who else am I?
Ryan Penne, Sinister Collector.
Yeah.
Jason Clendenning, who's a fantastic collector from the groups. Nick 666, who's been on the Darth Castle chat. Sean Landauer, who's an excellent collector also. So I mean, we all just started this group chat, just chatting every day. And then it kind of like stormed into this thing. We were like, hey, let's just do an X-Men channel. And even if we don't do anything really, it's there and we can do stuff on it. And, we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's fun.
It is fun. And that's what's so great about just having those conversations. I mean, that's how we started the Collectorverse. There's 4 of us, and that's how we started it. And, it became what it did. But just the conversations of saying, hey, let's just try something. Let's just, put something out there and try to bring the community together. That was the whole intent, that's why I love it. You guys have so many personalities in that channel, because it's something different, and you're doing something different that's not out there right now. There's very little X-Men statue content as far as I can see. So
I agree.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's getting more and more popular too.
Yeah, and it helps right now that Sideshow's putting out so many great pieces.
Yeah.
I think that's really lit a fire with collectors. So that's exciting. So congratulations. Tell everybody the name of it again.
Oh, it's X-Men Alliance.
Okay, X-Men Alliance. So check that out. Mac posted his YouTube link in the chat. So definitely click that and make sure you are a subscriber. And also Paradox Nerd on YouTube as well. PJ does great figure stuff, just really awesome stuff. So, and statue reviews and unboxings. So,
Yeah.
PJ, if you want to put your link in the chat too, and Tim, if you want to, you guys can.
I don't know how to do that kind of stuff. I'm not smart. I'm not the smartest.
Just copy and paste. That's it. Copy and paste.
Copy and paste.
But definitely do me a favor and check those guys out if you haven't, because you guys are all awesome and you're putting out great content that I love to watch too. So
Appreciate it.
Check them out.
Yeah,
Again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you sticking with us this whole time. We should be back in a couple weeks, depending on my son's baseball schedule. I've got 2 kids playing baseball at the same time, so it takes up about every night of our week. But hopefully, we'll be able to do it in 2 weeks on that Wednesday. So, anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching, and see you guys next time. See you in the back cave, everybody.
See you later, guys.
See ya.
See ya.